Gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀dọ́ tá a jọ ń káàkiri ọ̀dọ́jọ́ ni wá. Ẹ má jẹ́ kí a fi àyè gba Fúlàní lórí ilẹ̀ àwọn bàbá wa. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú ọba mọ́. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú jòyè mọ́. Nígbà tá a la fẹ́ jà fún àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa, táwa kọ́kọ́ ń bú ọba, tá à ń bú jòyè. Bí náà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ rí, mo mú pẹ́rẹ́ àmì padà. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú àgbààgbà kankan mọ́, ẹ má polóṣèlú kankan. Ẹ̀rù kálukú ń bẹ̀rù wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀. Ọba ò lè sọ, ìjòyè lè sọ. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ronú. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká bá àwọn bàbá jà mí, ẹ má jẹ́ bú wọn mọ́, ẹ má jẹ́ àti wọn ra wọn pẹ̀lú wọn. Àwọn tó bá jó lóṣèlú, tá a bá fẹ́ kọ́ rẹ̀ wá lọ́wọ́, á pè wọn mọ́ra, á gbé wọn mọ́ra ni. À ní bú wọn mọ́. Ẹ má jẹ́ àṣejẹ̀gbọ́n, ẹ má jẹ́ àdàlúrú. A lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n. A lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì yìnbọn. A lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì dàlúrú. Gbogbo protest mo ṣe ní ìlú Nàìjíríà, mi ò rí ibi tí mo ti ẹnìkan lè sọ pé mo pààyàn tàbí mo jó nǹkan náà tàbí mo bà nǹkan jẹ́. Mo lọ bísù torí pé olówó lèmi náà tí ò bá sọ lówó lára ń dì mọ́. Gbogbo nǹkan tó lọ́n fún yàn lọ́n fún mi. Mi ṣe tálákà tó tẹ́ pé mo dìde fún jà Yorùbá. Big man ni mí, àwọn tó jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi tó súnmọ́ mi tó ní owó ní kí ni mo wá lọ bẹ̀. Pé sọ́wọ́ ni mò ń fẹ́ ni kí n sọ yìí tí mo fẹ́, mo ní ìṣòro owó. Àní ọ̀rọ̀ ìran mi ni mò ń sọ. Kí n wọ gbowó, kí n gbéra, kí n pé mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ ọba àgbowó, mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ oníbodè òfin gbowó. Kí n kójó wọlé ọkàn mi balẹ̀. Kí n dá wa mọ́tò kí n mọ́ rìn bọ̀. Kí Fúlàní mọ́ dá mi dúró títì. Kí n délé kí bàbá sọ pé kí n gbé tírélà sùn kí n mọ́ gbé lọ. Àwọn bàbá wo lè lóko mọ́? Wọn ò lè lódò. Ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ká ti àwọn bàbá wa lẹ́yìn. Ká dá security ti wá lẹ̀. Ká sọ fún wọn kí wọ́n bá wa fọwọ́ tì í. Ká lé wọn kó nu oko wa. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́. Jésù Olúwa wa.
Koikimedia, we're bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Koikimedia, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Koikimedia, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Àwọn sálára àgbà yìí dán, àwa ló láṣà àti èdè. Gbígbédè lárugẹ nílẹ̀ Oòduà o, àwa gangan ni bàbá.
Koikimedia, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
They never sabi wetin we carry for her.
Until they move closer before they go sabi.
I said they never know wetin we carry for body.
Until they move closer before they go sabi.
Ọ̀kín lọ lọ́jà ẹyẹ, ìléwọ́n ló ló lajú.
Ẹyẹ tó dorí kodò bí àdó, wọ́n pẹ̀jẹ̀ lẹ́nu.
Ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ilẹ̀ bàbá wa. Ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ìlú bàbá wa. Ká jùmọ̀ sowọ́pọ̀ ká lè gbódúdú àga.
Odùduwà kò bá lè dé wá.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ṣègìrì. Ẹ dìde fún ẹ̀tọ́ adúláwọ̀. Ká lè jọ jùmọ̀ gbé délẹ̀ ìlérí. Káwa lè gba ògo ilẹ̀ wa. Ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká lè jọ gbàdé. Ká lè gbàdé adé adúláwọ̀. Àwa ni mọ̀lẹ̀ tí yóò tàn káàkiri.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ni wá.
Koikimedia, àwa là ń gbé tó lárugẹ.
Ètò tó gbójú ògbó tí wọ́n mọ̀ ní.
Kásá, ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà wà kájé bùgbà yín jẹ.
Ètò tó gbójú ògbó tí wọ́n mọ̀ ní.
À ń gbé tó lárugẹ, à ń gbàsà lárugẹ.
Ètò tó gbójú ògbó tí wọ́n mọ̀ ní.
News and sports, ẹ máa rí gbọ́.
Ètò tó gbójú ògbó tí wọ́n mọ̀ ní.
Ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀mí ló ní kí n máa ké tantan. Koikimedia, máa bá ṣẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ. Ọmọ Yorùbá nìyẹn, ọmọ Yorùbá tata o. À ń gbádùn rẹ̀, ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀mí, ṣẹ́yìn ló máa fi dìbò tẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa ń dé máa dé. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa wọ̀ o. Igbó máa wọ̀ gbájòjì ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọ àjòjì tó bá wọ bẹ́ẹ̀ á tẹ̀lé ní ẹbọra. Ẹ̀yin lọ máa náwó òyìnbó tó dé ìgbà tó yìnbó dé o owó náà dẹ́ tún pọ̀ sí o Koikimedia sáwa ní bàbá. Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àdáńtọ́ àtúnpèrègèdè.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àwa là ń gbétò lárugẹ jẹ́ ká jọgbọ́ o.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àtúnjàfẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Ọmọ Òdùwà ni wá o tọkàntọkàn.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Ikú tó ṣe bí lébi òsì àdìmú bàbá iyọ̀.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
We bring you one closer to your doorstep.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Afẹ́fẹ́ tó ń fẹ́ òòdùn kan jòkó lára ni.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àpèrègèdè Olódùmarè ló fún wa ṣe.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Gbogbo ayé ẹ gbọ́, àwa ní bàbá o.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Ẹ máa bọ̀ wá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà yín wá o.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Òdúdú àlá ti dọ́là gbé dání.
Koikimedia
A kì í sọ̀dálẹ̀, a kì í sóní kẹta.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Àdúró tán, a tún pèrègèdè.
Koikimedia àwọn ní bàbá.
Koikimedia we bring you one closer to your
Koikimedia
doorstep.
àwọn ní bàbá.
Koikimedia is around.
To give us latest.
Is around
To
o.
give us latest.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀. Ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó gbójú gbogbo.
ladies and gentlemen,
Ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀. Ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó gbójú gbogbo.
Koikimedia is around.
To give us.
That's all. But there seems to be some confusion in Yoruba land. I see that maybe perhaps the generality of the people do not feel as passionate about self-determination. And secondly, there is all kinds of positions. Afenifere is talking about restructuring. You are talking about self-determination.
You don't know this. You don't know the nature of the Yoruba society. You don't. Most of the young people, and they are the majority in Yoruba land, want the self-determination of their Yoruba nation. That's the truth of the matter. That's what is keeping the movement going. And they are also doing so in the diaspora. Yoruba young men and women all over the world want their own country, separate from Nigeria. You cannot deny that. No matter how much you want to pander to the government, you cannot deny that.
But,
That's the truth.
but anyway,
The important thing, however, and I'm surprised that you are not talking about that, is that the Yoruba people who are fighting for self-determination are telling the world and telling themselves that they will do it only peacefully. We are Yoruba. We know our status in the world. We know our status in the black world. We do not want to destroy the peace of Nigeria. And we do not want to bring difficulty into the lives of any other group in Nigeria. But we want to get out of Nigeria. That's it.
well, Prof, you were a strong
And
member.
you're not talking about that. You are asking me questions. You are asking me questions as if what Onitiri did has the support of the majority of Yoruba people who want self-determination. It is not true.
Well, Prof,
He has a small minority of a section that is ready to do illegalities. A year ago, they went and attacked a radio station in Ibadan, and so on. Now this year, they are attacking the entire government of Ibadan, and so on. No, but we have never sent anybody to go and do that, and we do not support it or encourage it. I would think it is criminal.
Prof,
and so if they get punished for their criminality, we have no objection to that.
Prof, you are a strong
but
member.
You cannot, because of them, generalize opposition to self-determination. You cannot.
Well, Prof, you were a strong member of the Party of Nigeria, also a very strong member of talking about restructuring. You are now talking about what is the difference, in these two
yes, our fathers in Afenifere are doing the right thing, talking about restructuring, so that we can go back and live our own life the way we used to live it prosperously. They're doing the right thing. There is nothing wrong with that. But we, another group of people, larger in number than they, are now saying, no, self-determination is the answer, not restructuring. Why? Because when you restructure, you are still in Nigeria. The people who are coming and disrupting your life and destroying your farms and killing your women and raping your mothers and daughters and so on are still Nigerians. They still have a right to come to Nigeria. The only final solution to that is to separate, so that you have a separate Yoruba country where we can make our own laws and so on, to which we admit only people we want to admit. So nobody can claim that they have a right to come to our land. They don't have such a thing. But as long as we are in Nigeria, no matter what restructuring is done, they still have the right to come to our land and do the things that we are doing. Nobody is talking about the fact that most Yoruba farmers have been driven from their farms. I am not hearing that. I'm hearing only about government. I'm not hearing about people. You are not talking about the fact that most Yoruba farmers have been driven from their farms, and that the Yoruba nation is in danger of famine upon famine upon famine for years and years to come. You are not talking of the fact that the Fulani declared war on Nigeria on the 24th of January and 26th of January and said that Tinubu is not our president. We are going to Aso Rock. We will take over the seat of government there, and we will use this place to organize the conquest of the rest of Nigeria. You're not talking about that. You are not talking of people who said, no Fulani man must be arrested for the bomb in Ibadan. If you do, you will have bombs in every town in Yoruba, in Nigeria. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about the sheer insult of living in a country where some people are treating the government like that. You are talking about Onitiri and so on. Why do our...
Well, Prof, let me ask you this. Self-determination...
You are entitled to your opinion. You are entitled to your opinion, but what I'm saying is that your opinion rigorously avoids the truth. Rigorously.
Well, Prof,
avoids the truth.
Nigeria, as Onigo Chite told us in his research on ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, has over 300 ethnic nationalities. Will you recommend self-determination to all the other ethnic nationalities in Nigeria? For all these nationalities to
those who want it don't ask me a general question. I'm asking for self-determination for a nation, the Yoruba nation. There are about 60 million people in Nigeria, and their territory is large enough to be a large country. So that's what I'm talking about. Any other nationality in Nigeria that wants self-determination is free to ask for it. I cannot come and ask for self-determination for nations that are not mine. No.
Well, Prof, as we have this, we're having this conversation. You are in Cotonou, Republic of Benin. Not too long ago, after Chief Sunday Igboho returned to Nigeria.
That's all.
But there's...
Orúkọ mi ni Sunday Adéyẹmọ, tí gbogbo yẹn mọ̀ sí Sunday Igboho. Sọ̀rọ̀ pé sẹ́yìn bá jọ ọmọ Ìbàdàn, tó bá ń gbé kó, wọ́n máa pè é ní Bàbá Ìbàdàn. wọ́n lè mọ̀ pé ẹlẹ́mìí àpè ní Ìbàdàn. So ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ yẹn tó bá ń gbé ìlú òdì kejì tó bá jọ ọmọ ọbọ̀mí ó kọ ìlú tó ti wá yẹn náà máa fi pè é níbi tó ń gbé. Èmi náà jẹ́ kan náà tó kópa nínú ogun Mọdákẹ́kẹ́ àti Ifẹ̀. So ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn tó bá gbọ́ sórí ogun yẹn tó ń gbọ́ gbogbo pàtí mo kó mẹ́wẹ́ ọkùnrin mẹ́rin ogun bọ̀bọ̀ yẹn ń gbá ogun ó ṣe báyìí ó máa ń jẹ́ kí ẹlòmíràn ọkùnrin ni akíkanjú ọkùnrin ni. Gbogbo wàhálà Ládọjà àtàwọn bàbá dédé búmbàdàn náà gbogbo àwọn tí wàhálà yẹn sojú wọ́n fẹ́ impeach Ládọjà, wọ́n fẹ́ yẹ Ládọjà ń pò, wọ́n fẹ́ gbàjọba lọ, wọ́n fẹ́ yẹ Ládọjà jẹ kankan tèmi dẹ̀ dúró ti gbà yẹn. Gbogbo àwọn tó rí pa tí mo kó láti pé kán mọ́ rí Ládọjà yẹn jẹ́ ńgbà yẹn. Sùtẹ́lù mi bá rí mi rí wọn pé ọkùnrin mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dọ́gbọ̀n nìyẹn bí wọ́n ṣe bọ́ta ṣe pọ̀ tó Ọlọ́run ṣẹ́gun wọn fún un. Èròǹgbà mi lórí ìgbésẹ̀ àwọn Fúlàní yẹn ni pé ẹnu Yorùbá gbọ́dọ̀ kò. Tí wọ́n mọ̀ pé wọ́n fẹ́ ká bá Fúlàní jà káwọn bàbá wa gbogbo àwọn ọba wa gbogbo àwọn bàbá wa wọ́n ṣáájú kàn pè wá sí mítì kan dẹ̀ fún wa pé tó àwọn ọmọ yìí o kí lóyún dé sì gbé kí gbogbo ayé rí pé tó àwọn ni wọ́n sọ pé tó ká kojú wọn gbogbo ibi tí yàrá ti fẹ́ gbé Yorùbá ká fèsì bẹ́ẹ̀ Ọlọ́run mọ̀mọ̀ mú wa agbára mélòó wà làwọn Fúlàní wà ní wọn ò tó tó ń pera wọn fọfọlọ́gbọ̀ra fún yìí wọn ò tó tó ń pera wọn Ọlọ́ọ̀bá Olódùmarè ń bọ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n tá a bá ní nǹkan tí àwọn náà ní lọ́dọ̀ àwọn bàtà jogún àwọn bàbá kábẹ̀sí lò ń sìn kábọ́ta wọ́n sọ wá lóko míì. Táwọn bàbá bá mọ̀ pé yà ń jẹ àwọn Yorùbá wọ́n pe gbogbo wa sí mítìn kí wọ́n pe Ọọ̀ni kí wọ́n pa Aláàfin kí wọ́n pa àwọn bàbá Àwùjalẹ̀ gbogbo àwọn ọba yẹn tó bá jókòó kí wọ́n pè wá kí wọ́n invite gbogbo wa. Ọlọ́ọ̀bá lálágbára èmi ò tó nǹkan kan àwọn tó kún lágbára dúró wá pọ̀ lọ́pọ̀ tó pọ̀ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ kí wọ́n pe gbogbo wọn jọ so tí èsì tó máa pè wọ́n jọ tó bá mọ̀ pé lè kẹrù wa náà bá náà sì lè ní pátálẹ̀ kó kọ́ pè wá káwá jọ jókòó káwo bá ṣe fẹ́ ṣe tí ò ní sí nǹkan kan ẹ̀mí gbọ̀n kankan mọ́ ẹlòmíràn gbọ́n gbòòrò kò wúrí mi rí ẹlòmíràn ní olè kọ̀máǹdì mọ́ ó lójú àwọn tí mo ṣe lójú wọn rí ẹlòmíràn ló lè ṣe báyìí ẹlòmíràn ti bá ṣèkan lójú ẹ̀ yóò sọ 10 ṣé nǹkan tí mo sọ yìí ẹlòmíràn sì ní ẹnu ni so àwọn tí wọn mọ sọ pé ẹnu nìyẹn èmi mọ bẹ lọ́n kí nǹkan dẹ̀mí àti wọn pọ̀ wọn lè rí pé kì í sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀nà ṣùgbọ́n pé kẹ́ni kan lóhun dídí ṣe èmi ìwọ ni Sunday Igboho mo wá bọ́ ọ̀tá o àbá nígbà tí wọ́n fi dọ̀tún la Buhari ó pàṣẹ láti Àbújá sọ́jà tí ó ka mọ́ta nkìdé yóò ju tó gun gbogbo àgbà ń jẹ́ alẹ́ Haúsá lọ wọn ò ríra wọn bẹ̀ yẹn tá a bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ wò nísìn ẹ̀ rí i pé wọ́n yìí máa lọ́wọ́ gbogbo táwọn ń ṣe ilé Haúsá tó ń mú jẹ yẹn tá a bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ wò nísìn wọ́n yìí máa lọ́wọ́ torí pé àwọn Yorùbá kan náà ni ó lọ bá wọn lọ́hùn tí wọ́n sọ pé àwọn ọmọ bẹ́ẹ̀ tí wọ́n ṣe nu pa ẹ̀ làwọn ọmọ ayákìlá làwọn ọmọ bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n yẹn ta la parí ta ìyá yóò la parí ìdíjà yẹn làlá fẹ́ gbé ó tó fi gba sùúrù nìyẹn ó gbọgbọ́n kì í ṣe nǹkan tí yẹn kẹ́ kágbádá ọ̀rọ̀ tó kó fún pátó kolóńdè tó gbé bọ̀kọ́ tó lọ́fẹ́ lọ pàdé Fúlàní o bí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ wọ́n sọ di nǹkan mímọ́ yẹn lọ àfi kéèyàn jókòó kó lọ́wọ́ àwọn bàbá yẹn táwọn bàbá yẹn ó ṣèwé kán sáyìn fún wa pé àwa la ṣèwé fún yín pé ìyà gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ Yorùbá gbogbo bíkíbi tí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá dé ẹ lọ ṣàbò lórí ẹ̀pà àwọn ọmọ tẹ bá mọ̀ ń bẹ kẹ́ ṣàbò àwọn ọmọ ń bẹ ńlẹ̀ bàbá mi àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ń bẹ ńlẹ̀ tí wọn ò ní sá rárá àwọn ọmọ tẹ́wọ̀ tó ń jókòó wọ̀nyí wọ́n yìí sọ wọn ẹsẹ̀ náà rírọ̀ but ọgbọgbọ́n àlèkè sọ pé ẹ mọ lọ sí Ìkirè bí wọ́n ti ń kidnap Yorùbá ẹ mọ lọ Òṣogbo ẹ mọ lọ lọ́rin ẹ mọ lọ sí yóò di nǹkan mímu wa lọ́wọ́ tó bá ti dá wọn lójú pé àwọn làwọn bí wa àwọn sì làwọn bàbá àwọn ni bàbá wa lẹ Yorùbá ń bí wọ́n sì ṣe bàbá burúkú wọ́n dẹ̀ sọ̀dàlẹ̀ bàbá tí fi àjọ mọ́ káwọn náà bá gbádá rẹ̀ kó tì wá síwájú bàbá lọ bàbá nílọ káwọn bá gbádá rẹ̀ kó ní ká nìṣó níbẹ̀ bàbá lọ bàbá nílọ bá wọn gẹ́gẹ́ ò ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ torí ń táwọn bàbá àwọn bàbá àkànnà ń bẹ tó ń gbà ń bẹ̀ àwọn oníṣẹ́ ìgbà lọ bọ̀ táwọn bá jẹ́ bàbá dáadáa tí wọ́n dẹ̀ fẹ́ fi àtúbọ̀tán rí rẹ̀ fáwọn ọmọ wọn kọ̀ ẹ̀kún gbàgbẹ̀dẹ̀ fún Yorùbá kọ̀ ẹ̀kún pè wá ká bọ́ta ní káwọn dẹ̀ dúró tì wá pé yẹ nìṣó níbẹ̀.
ọmọ Ìbàràpá lápapọ̀ ẹ̀jẹ̀ adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àti ọmọ Yorùbá lápapọ̀ tìlé tó kó ẹ̀mí àbọ̀ ẹ̀bá nǹkan mọ Adéyẹmọ Chief Sunday Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho orúkọ ńlá tí ń jámọ̀ láyà bí àrá orúkọ tó ń dẹ́rù bo lórúkọ gan-an ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ má sùn o torí bẹ́ẹ̀ bùrà a kò lè fojú kégbodò láyé títa ríro lẹ̀dá ń kọlà wúrà tó máa dán àlànà kọjá dandan o ọ̀wọ́n irin ní má bẹ̀rẹ̀ wọ̀nà ẹ̀dá kan lè ṣì wá lọ́nà mọ́ ẹjẹ́ àtìmọ̀ṣọ́ kan ká lè débi re ẹjẹ́ àjọ gbárùkù ti Sunday Ìgbòho ṣá ọmọ Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ nílùú Alágbàdo Òde ọmọ atapẹ̀tẹ̀ wọnú omi ọmọ dèdèlè wodò sànyà ìsànyà ò rẹ́ràn bàbá yín láàrin ìdí omi kò sí lọ ń kán sí yín lẹ́nu ọmọ òkúta mẹ́ta òkè Ìgbòho ìkan ń ṣe yín ní dábọ̀dàbọ̀ ìkan ní mọ́ rọra ìkan tó kù nígbà tí wọ́n ò mọ̀ Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ kí ló dé Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ sí ọmọ òpópó sanran ìgbàgede Ìgbòho sùn wọn láláìsí bẹ̀rẹ̀ wọn ní kó ní bẹ̀rẹ̀ ó máa kó bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ ẹ̀sìn òní bímọ méjì ní Ìgbòho mọ̀rẹ́ bẹ́sìn bá bímọ méjì ní Ìgbòho áfíkan pọpọ sí amúkan yòókù bọ sànyà àtúmúyà rẹ tí ò lọ́rọ̀ gbọ́ àfiṣẹrù wálé wàràmùjẹ ọmọ onílé ọlà àwọn àjòjì tó ń ṣe ségesège tán láwọn òní bomi kó sí mu wọn láwọn òní bomi sànyà wẹsẹ̀ ìgbà tójú kò fìrí ń kọ́ gbogbo wọn náà sáré bomi kó sí mu wọn sì bomi sànyà wẹsẹ̀ ọmọ abẹ́rẹ́ mẹ́ta òde ayé ọ̀kan ṣẹ́ ọ̀kan tẹ̀ ọ̀kan tó kù ní gbogbo ayé ti ránṣọ kiri gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá Sunday Ìgbòho onírèlẹ̀ láéláé torí àbá lásán nìkan ń dá òkú ṣe gbé fún wọn o ìmọ̀ràn lásán ni ti balùwẹ̀ kò pọ́sibú kó dòdò láyé ń bí ó kún díẹ̀ kí tọ́ domi láéláé tọ́ mi lè domi Sunday Ìgbòho arógun má ti bí tó ń jà fẹ́tọ̀ Yorùbá ní tilé tó kó.
ọmọ Yorùbá Fúlàní Yorùbá nation yìí ti gbogbo wa ni ó máa gbọ́dọ̀ bàjẹ́ torí kò sínú kí lọ́kọ́.
impediment to Yoruba development. It's the impediment to Yoruba development. Without Nigeria, we won't be where we are. 1962, we were far ahead of South Korea and North Korea. We were far ahead of China even. We had television before France. We had radio before South Africa. Now look at where we are today. I think it's a shame that even any Yoruba man can be talking about restructuring at this point in time. What are we restructuring? This country that is already shot to pieces? I don't think that's what we want. But they are always talking about giving Nigeria a chance. The patience of Yoruba with Nigeria has come to an end.
Which is it for you, Dr. Badaya? Do you think the government is unwilling or unable to protect the people of Southern Kaduna?
In fact, it is not only unable, it is unwilling, and we have good reason to feel that they are part and parcel of the killers. Let me make some revelations to you.
That's a very big allegation, Dr. Obadiah. The government is part and parcel of the killers.
Yes.
That's big.
Yes. Okay. How will the government just say, oh, it is revenge killing and so on? Then you leave it there. Oh, because it is revenge killing and so on and so forth. The body language of this administration, the body language of the state government shows clearly that they have a hand in the killings. No doubt about it. Because, you see, General Abacha, and people don't give him his due. Do you think you would have tolerated such nonsense? And let me make some revelations, because some of us also have our own intelligence networks.
Okay.
Have met with some of the bandits. We have met with some of their high commanders. One or two who have repented. They have sat down with us, not once, not twice. They told us that one of the northern governors is the commander of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Boko Haram and the bandits are one and the same thing. They have a sophisticated network. During this lockdown, their planes were moving up and down as though there was no lockdown. Moving ammunitions, moving logistics, moving money, and distributing them in different parts of the country. They are already in the south, in the rainforest of the south. They are everywhere. They told us that when they finish these rural killings, they will move to phase 2. The phase 2 is they will go into the urban cities, going from house to house, killing prominent people. I can tell you, this is the game plan. By 2022, they want to start a civil war in Nigeria.
We can say now banditry is an industry in Zamfara State. Last month, we arrested a member of the State House of Assembly in banditry here in Zamfara State. We arrested a district head we also as well arrested a former local government chairman. So you can see that involvement of this class of people in banditry is more making the situation to become more and more complex. So in essence, I can say that all caliber of people now are involved. All manner of people are involved in this banditry. More alarming and more disturbing is the involvement of a district head in supplying drugs to the bandits. So in that respect, your presence here today, we can say now banditry is an industry in Zamfara State. Last month,
the welfare of millions of people for generations to come may be affected by the wisdom which we here display. With Nigerian leaders and our British partners are to prove themselves worthy of their trust, now is the time for us solemnly and truly to dedicate ourselves to seeking the greatest good of the greatest number of our people in Nigeria.
So what do they expect of us now that this war is on our doorstep? Of course, there has got to be civil mobilization. And if we keep waiting for this to be centrally handled, we're all going to become, if we're not already, slaves in our own land. That for me is personally intolerable. It's not an acceptable condition. And whatever it takes, I stand ready to contribute in any way.
Impediment to Yoruba development is the impediment to Yoruba development. Without Nigeria, we will be where we are. 1962, we were far ahead of South Korea and North Korea. We were far ahead of China even. We had television before France. We had radio before South Africa. Now look at where we are today. I think it's a shame that even any Yoruba man can be talking about restructuring at this point in time. What are we restructuring? This country that is already shot to pieces? I don't think that's what we want. But they are always talking about giving Nigeria a chance. The patience of Yoruba with Nigeria has come to an end.
And a very good morning and happy Sunday to all our listeners and viewers around the world, and welcome once again to the Koikimedia live transmission. As you all know, my name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, and also one out of the millions of the Yoruba people that believe in self-determination. Mo kí gbogbo wa ní gbogbo ibikíbi tí ẹ bá ti láǹfààní láti tún dá sí ìkànnì wa ní àárọ̀ yìí. Mo kí wa pé ẹ káàbọ̀ ní ọjọ́ Sunday 18th August 2024. Self-determination is a right, an inalienable right, and that right will be respected by the Nigerian government, the international community, and friends of Nigeria. If otherwise, there will be trouble ahead in the near future should we all remain as one fraudulent Nigeria. My job is to remind millions of Nigerians that there's no amount of your prayer that can save this country. The country will go down. But before Nigeria go down, we must create as much awareness and prepare you for the worst case scenarios. There might be fight, there might be anarchy, there might be crisis, but things can be done in a civilized situation, subject to if the federal government allows so. This morning, we will complete the last final episode of our discussion when Yoruba have their own country, how we can be able to have a proper military security, a proper security system far away from the corrupt Nigeria security that has been compromised, and we can no longer put our lives into such a corrupt military and security system. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí gbogbo wa ti ṣe mọ̀, there is no amount of your prayer that can defend people. We need people to be trained and prepared to secure, as UK will not allow terrorists to infiltrate them in this country. UK ò ní gbà kí terrorists wá sínú ìlú yìí, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni America ò ní gbà. But as we all know, Nigeria has allowed many Fulanis to infiltrate every part of the country. And they have one agenda, and that agenda, we're not just talking about the Fulani, we know that there are others that are interested in the land that belongs to us. We will defend that land with everything that we have, but the first thing is to prepare us for the future. Mukiwa pe aku ojo aiku to jejo Sunday. As we are all preparing to go to our churches, there's no amount of whatever your GO, your pastor, your bishop pray for Nigeria, the country is gone spiritually. The last part of Nigeria is to make sure that we collapse it and turn it into a card so that the real indigenous people would then go back into their own territory and build their own nation brick by brick. India was ruled by the British for 200 years. And we have now seen how India has been transformed into a world-class country that millions of you would like to run into. We can do the same thing in the space of 20 years. But Nigeria things will be better. You are likely to, but I can tell you that it will not last. And these are the reasons why we are now calling on every sons and daughters of Yoruba to first join us in London in October precisely, as we head out again for a very important visit of Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho to UK. Igboho will arrive UK not just for the dinner alone that I will be telling you about, but he will be here to also lead a 1 million rally that will take off here in London on the 12th day of the month of October. The organizing committee are putting everything in place to make sure that the rally will kick off as it has been planned. But let me give us some updates and some latest development. The development of the address, because many people continue to ask, what is the full address to the rally? And I'll be telling you that because I've been talking about it is close to the BBC, but since we live in UK, many people want to see the proper postcode and all such. So what I'm going to do right now is to put things together and tell you how and where the rally will be held. There are a couple of people who there's a sleeve that we are selling at £25 because the weather might be a little bit bumpy in October. There's also a bus service that have been prepared for us for the benefit of those that would like to travel down and they cannot walk a bit of distance. Like I said, there is a lot of things that should be done ahead of the breakup of Nigeria. One of them is to create awareness. If anybody tells you that rally is not needed, you might want to ask them, what then is needed? If people say they want to fight, well, tell them to go to the street and fight, as it was done in the Bangladesh when millions of people came out to ask for their full right to the exit of their prime minister that we all saw. So the postcode to the venue of the rally, Tebafe Kosile, and that will be done in a flyer that is coming out in the next couple of minutes. The postcode will be Whiskey 1 Alpha, 1 Alpha Alpha. I repeat that again, W1A, 1 double A. That will be the BBC Broadcasting House, Portland Place, London, W1A, 1AA. These will happen on a Saturday at 10 a.m. from the BBC Broadcasting House, Portland Place, London, W1A, 1AA. We expect everybody to be there before the procession will move from the BBC Portland, then heading towards Regent Street, as we then penetrate into the Trafalgar Square, come out straight into the number 10 Downing Street, then we move into the Parliament, then we go straight back into the Nigerian High Commission in London, and then we come back again where it will finally end in Trafalgar Square. Please make sure you tell somebody to pick that date as an important date in the history of the Yoruba people for the visit of Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho in London. There will also be some other activities before that, and that activities is only for few of those that can attend and for those that would love to be in what we know as a dinner. The dinner date has been changed, the venue remained the same, and nothing has changed apart from the day of the dinner, which would have been a Thursday, the 10th of October. But I can tell you now that the dinner is going to be on a Friday instead, October 2024, at the London Kensington Hotel in central London. There's a parking around the area, 179/199 Holland Park Avenue, London, W11 4 Uniform Lima, United Kingdom. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí fún gbogbo àwọn tó ti ra ticket. This is the latest update. Dinner kò ní wáyé níjọ́ Thursday as it has been planned. The dinner has now been shifted a day after the Thursday, which is now going to be Friday, 11th of October 2024. Same venue. Dinner will start at exactly 7 p.m. till 12 midnight. If you don't have a ticket, you will not be allowed into the venue of the hotel. There will be adequate security. So, Emma disgrace Arayin, if you can't make the dinner, Igboho will be on the rally at exactly 10 a.m. when he will also be leading the procession from the BBC Broadcasting House, as we said earlier, on a Saturday. So you would have the privilege to see him right inside the rally. But if you want to come down for the beautiful dinner with him, with only 150 people, because that is the capacity that has been put together to celebrate his birthday, which fall into October. That birthday means that we want to appreciate this man, this father, these philanthropies, this businessman that was almost going to be killed on the 1st of July 2021, just because the same problem he asked and the same reason he came out, Oshinshele Nino Nigeria Leni. Multiple Nigerians are still being kidnapped. 20 medical dental doctors, we told you yesterday, have now been kidnapped on their way to Enugu. Nobody knows where they are right now. No rescue. Nothing has happened. We can no longer live in such an environment with criminals and terrorists and jihadis. We need to protect our borders. And that was the reason why Igbowo came out. So if you're one of those that wants to be part of the dinner with Oloye Igbowo, you can reach out to all the numbers that we have been giving you, including myself. And you can also pay for that £100 per ticket. That ticket only allows you alone, not two people. You can also make all your inquiries should you want to support these whole projects, either for the dinner or you want to support for the rally itself. Like I said, that Igbowo himself will be present. 2 important dates. But on a Sunday, Igbowo will then head out to Manchester, as Manchester will now host Dr. Chief Sunday Igbowo in Manchester, as we will be traveling with him for another beautiful outing to the Yoruba and probably the Nigerian community in that particular location. And that also means that Sunday the 13th, Igbowo will be in up north, Manchester. We'll be giving you all the details of where it will be, and we will be telling you that before the due date. Like I said, like I said, 2 key important dates plus 1 extra date that has now been pushed for you all, for those that are living in Liverpool. If you're coming for the rally, Tebambo for rally, if you book whatever coach that you want, you can get to London, Victoria. If you're coming and traveling from Scotland and you want to go on the night coach or the morning coach from Leicester, as many people have indicated that they will be traveling from those regions, from Birmingham. If you leave with the first coach, Nibikibi Tebawa, and I'm talking about for the rally now, you will still get to the venue where we are going to be leaving at exactly 10, where we are gathering at exactly 11 o'clock. We will then move out on a good position with all our banners, the music, Bedu Magazine, myself, Heritage, and many others that will be leading the possession, and the all Yoruba world media, both at home and in the diaspora. We have special of traveling from across the globe. If you're coming from the European country, get for the rally ahead, and I'm sure you will be saving a lot of money. Outside London, still return back to your own wherever you're coming from. The good thing is no Fulani terrorists will kidnap you on your way back home. No Fulani terrorists will hijack your coach and drag you into the forest. You will be secured, whether you're traveling by the train or you're traveling with your beautiful cars, or you are also traveling via the London National Coach Express. So it is important that we put the 12th October 2024 in our diary. If you're working on that day, take that day off now. Tell your workers, I'm sure they will give you the day off. Take it as an outing. We expect you to bring your children. There will be adequate security. The Metropolitan Police is already aware that there will be a 1 million rally march in London. We'll be giving you further details of how these will be held. Like I said, if you're not sure of anything, either the dinner, which is a paid dinner for 150 people with a still few more tickets that can be grabbed. The dress code is that there will be anyone that believes in Yoruba Nation to put on anything that you believe will represent you. But there is a sleeve that is being sold at £25 if you can afford it. But about the last Yoruba Nation, please put it on. Remember that the weather will not be as good as summer right now. Factor that into your dress mode. Light shoes because there'll be a long walk. I can tell you that. But for the 72 London bus that has now been hired, open roof, we take our elderly. Please, 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 F1 indicator that you are coming. Your name then will be put on the coach. We don't want you to get there and you realize that you will not be able to get into the coach. We still need adequate support, voluntary. This donation is for the purpose of the rally and likewise to support the dinner. We are only doing these to appreciate your what? We are only doing all these to appreciate Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho for a life and for the sacrifice he has put in to support not just his own people, but humanity at large. So, Gbogbo kò bá yé wa, please let us continue to ask. The outfit is not compulsory for you to buy. The dinner is not also compulsory. But what is compulsory is that we need everybody to attend the rally on the 12th of October 2024. That is very, very important. Everybody is expected. As long as we're in Yoruba, we expect you to be at that venue of the rally. There is no amount of things that you might have planned that should be bigger than the Yoruba Nation rally that is coming up. If you're not a Yoruba Nation person, maybe because you believe in the current administration, I want you to go back and ask yourself, the country that you live today, many people fought for the freedom for us to enjoy today. Even though we have seen recently how the English Defense League and many other that wants to bully the Yoruba people, the Nigerians and other nationality that lives in this country. Even though they do not understand the history of their country, which we will continue to educate them. But we also expect us all to play our role. Nigeria is going through a very rough, and there's no amount of what you say. Tinubu has only a limited time as the current president of the country. The problem is, after Tinubu, what next? These are all the questions that go to my Birawa. So again, Yoruba Nation 1 million rally, which is coming up. Dinner for Igboho a Friday. So it's a packed weekend. If you can travel with us to Manchester on a Sunday, it will be good. We will go in a convoy. And if you can't, you can also join us in Manchester. So, like I said, these are all the latest developments from gbogbo èèyàn wa tí ẹni ìfẹ́ sí bàbá wa Olóyè Ọmọ Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho Òòṣà. Like I said, this is just one out of the many updates that will be coming up in the next couple of days. For those of us in Nigeria that might be asking, what about our own rally? Are we not going to have any rally in Nigeria? These will be communicated at the appropriate time with our leaders due to the fact that they make the decision on when we go out, whether in Nigeria or around the world. I know that many of you would also want to be in UK, but unfortunately, as we know, UK refused to give visa to many of our loved ones, as Nigeria has now been a country that many of them believe that if we are giving you a visa, you're likely not to return back to Nigeria. It wasn't like this in the 80s, but we can see why we need to get the hell out of Nigeria before it is too late. What? Where is it? Inside where? Where? Come and look at it. Let's bend down and look at it. So these are all the reasons why tí gbogbo wa ṣe gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ iṣẹ́ nísìn láti lè fi save ìran wa from going into extinction. There is no time to be wasted. There is no time to joke around. Eléyìí tá à ń pariwo nísìn, ó kan èmi, ó kan ìwọ, ó kan ọmọdé, ó kan àgbàlagbà. A kí pírẹsidẹ́ǹtì ìfẹ́lódùn, a kí pírẹsidẹ́ǹtì akíkanjú, a kí gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ń tò ètò yẹn pé kí gbogbo ẹ̀ kó lè lọ bó ṣe jẹ́ kó lọ. So now that we've given you some background to what we're expecting to happen in the next couple of months, let us also remind ourselves to be vigilant. There is still multiple terrorist attack that is going on right in Nigeria, and we must not allow ourselves to be used as threats. If you see something, shout it out. Let all the medias in the Yoruba nation knows about it. From the Yoruba world media to the independent media to the YSDM, we will shout it out. And I can tell you that the authority will listen to us. There's a lot of movement of the Fulani as we continue to monitor in the porous borders of Nigeria today. They are moving, and they're expanding. Our role now is to see what needs to be done to stop it. Yoruba nation is not yet a country to stop it, but what we are doing is to create the awareness to the international community, the United Nations, and give them all the facts and reasons why we cannot allow our people to be continue to be massacred and genocide due to the fact that the present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu failed his responsibility and his role to protect not just the Yoruba, but all other Nigerians that are living inside this contraction that was put together through a fraudulent amalgamation. Happy Sunday and welcome once again. As I take us through stage by stage of these developments, let me tell us that we all play a role today, and we will be free finally for the rest of our lives. You will not go to heaven alone, because heaven is right here on earth with us. And that is the reason why we have to do what is necessarily to be done to protect the interest of the Yoruba people at large. Whether it is the Yoruba in Cuba, in Panama, in Brazil, in all African countries, or the 35 million Yoruba people that are now living in a very difficult situation with the economic collapse in Nigeria. So this morning, we have an area that I want to talk about that Baba Akintoye gave us again, especially for those that are saying that we should go back to a regional government. Regional government is not new, as we all know. It is the fact that this has always been what many millions of Yoruba people have asked for. But it happened, and there are so many reasons for that. So that didn't happen. But this time around, I want to put for a regional government might want to think otherwise, that the regional government still allow many people to believe that they own or they control or the Yoruba land belongs to them. I live here. This country doesn't belong to me. There's no amount of how many Nigerians that have a British passport. This country does not belong to you. You are only a foreigner that nationalized. So for the fact that Ashifiwa in Nigeria and asking for a regional government, what do you want? We must understand. It's not here. We must understand that the role and what we're asking for today is nothing more than what millions of others have asked for. We have told the government that we want to negotiate, but we know that the government is not ready to negotiate. But that does not mean that we have to close the windows of diplomacy. I can tell us that letter have now been communicated again back to the United Nations. As soon as that letter is with me before the end of this week coming, I'll be sharing the content with us. Professor Akintoye have sent out another strong warning letter to the UN. Another letter has been sent to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu after the one that we sent to him. Nígbà tó ti expire, tí kò dá wa lóhùn. These two letters have more strong content than the previous one. I'll be sharing that with you as soon as the YSDM gives me a copy of such letter. But let me say to those that are praying that we will stay together, we will not stay together. Everybody will go their separate ways. So let's start again as we take it stage by stage. After the dinner, the rally, I'll be telling you more about those two activities as we have them in me and as other media will be discussing them as well. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, and thank you once again for joining this platform. Remember to follow, remember to love, remember to share, and remember that we are all in this together. There is no amount of any Yoruba that is bigger than any other Yorubas. Whether the Yoruba that lives in outside London, whether the Yoruba that lives in inside London, whether the Yoruba that lives right inside Yoruba land or any other part of the world. Ìkan ni gbogbo wa, kò sí yàtọ̀ kankan láàrin gbogbo wa. Ihun tó mú yàtọ̀ wá ni pé some of us have lived a better life than many of you back home due to the economic sabotage by the criminal military and many that have run this corrupt country known as Nigeria. So let us not believe that Yoruba tó ń bẹ níta nìkan ni ó better ju Yoruba tó ń bẹ nínú ilé lọ. We are all good Yorubas. We are all beautiful Yorubas, well educated, well articulated. But if we allow ourselves to be manipulated by the criminal politicians, it will not take us to anywhere. So, let's sit back and let's enjoy the Sunday broadcast as much as we can, as time is now 1 hour straight into the discussion. Let's listen to these and then we come straight to you in just about a few minutes.
oṣù kẹwàá sẹ́fẹ̀ gbọ́. lọ́dún sọjọ́ ìbí ọmọ aládìkún olóyè Sunday májàsọ́lá àdìsá ọmọ adéyẹmọ aka ìgbòho òòṣà nípa bí gbogbo àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́lọ́dún àpapọ̀ yorùbá lágbàáyé lábẹ́ ààrẹ wa ọmọọba adébáyọ̀ fáládé ti gbákejì ààrẹ mọ́kẹ́hìndé ìkíàtúnbí kẹ́ńtò ń ṣe ìrọ́kẹ̀kẹ̀ ìgbáradì níbàámu pẹ̀lú ìfẹ́ àti ẹ̀mí ìforihàn àgbékalẹ̀ àyẹ́sí ọjọ́ ìbí ìgbòho fún tọdún yìí pẹ̀lú àkọlé dinner with ìgbòho. bákan náà làwọn ọmọ gba ọ̀pọ̀ ògbóni àgbáyé lálejò tajudeen ọlárẹ̀wájú àjàlá àti bàbá adésọjí tàlàbí àwòrò ṣàṣà eégún mọ̀gájí nílùú London láti wá ṣe àyẹ́sí fún olóyè ìgbòho lọ́jọ́ náà tí ó wáyé nínú gbọ̀ngàn ńlá ní London Kensington 179 to 199 Holland Park Avenue London W11 United Kingdom bẹ̀rẹ̀ látago méje ìrọ̀lẹ́ ẹlẹ́lẹ́dago méjìlá òru. bákan náà láti ń kí wa kú ìmúrasílẹ̀ ìwọ́de làmìlaka tẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ ènìyàn tí ó wáyé nílùú ọba 1 million rally in London lọ́jọ́ kejìlá oṣù kẹwàá tó jẹ́ ọjọ́ kejìdínlá pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho lẹ́yìn tó Ọláyọmí Kóìkì àti bàbá wa Gbẹ̀du ọmọ ṣàkóso ẹ̀ lọ́ọ̀kan ọ̀jọ̀kan àwọn àlàkalẹ̀ ìrọ̀rùn. bàbá ṣe máa fi ọkọ̀ àjàgbé ńlá ní London Round Bus gbé àwọn àgbààgbà àti àwọn abarapá gbogbo láti BBC in Oxford títí tí ìwọ́de fi parí sí Paris Trafalgar Square tó bá wá di ọjọ́ kẹtàlá ọjọ́ kẹtàdínlá pẹ̀lú Ìgbòho láwọn máa ṣàbẹ̀wò lọ sí ìlú Manchester gan fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé síwájú sí i tàbí láti dá sí ètò ìfọlọ́ndrìlì ẹ lè gbé tàbí kẹ́ WhatsApp Ọláyọmí Kóìkì lórí +447 594 050 979 Kẹ́hìndé Ìkíàdùbí lórí +447
447-570-320-030. Ṣọlá kò gbúdọ̀ kú lórí +353-863-375-537. Bákan náà ní ẹ lè kàn sí Tóyìn Ọláoyè lórí +447-896-018-764. Lápapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá àgbáyé pátápátá YSDN pẹ̀lú Yorùbá World Media Home and Diaspora àti gbogbo ìkànnì mìíràn pátápátá. Àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́lọ́dún àpapọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá ṣe kí ọmọ aládìgún wípé ẹ kú ọdún ẹ kú ìyèdún a sì ń ṣàmọ́dún sẹ́ẹ̀mí ìtayàtọ̀mọ. Yorùbá World Media ló kéde lórúkọ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pátápátá.
Mo kí wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i.
Impediments to Yoruba development is the impediment to Oduduwa development. Without Nigeria, we won't be where we are. 1962, we were far ahead of South Korea and North Korea. We were far ahead of China even. We had television before France. We had radio before South Africa. Now look at where we are today. I think it's a shame that even any Yoruba man can be talking about restructuring at this point in time. What are we restructuring? This country that is already shot to pieces? I don't think that's what we want. But they are always talking about giving Nigeria a chance. The process of Yoruba with Nigeria has come to an end.
Once again, happy Sunday and welcome. Now, I want to take us to this discussion about Anotombere phone, restructure Nigeria. What do you want to restructure about Nigeria? I'd say, what actually would you restructure about a country that crime against humanity has gone wrong for a very, very long time? Many Nigerians do not know that the country is another crime scene, and probably maybe they're aware, they probably just can't be bothered. So we're going to start with a very light note before we go into Babakitoye reason, or maybe we should start from there and then we move back to the banking sector that I want to talk about, and I promise us during the week. Very, very important. I guess we should first go straight to that Professor Akitoye discussion, and then I can come back out to tell you more about the banking sector, how we have all been robbed and believe that we all have this beautiful banking system in Nigeria. Share button here. Very, very important that we do so. You found it? Where did you put it? Share button. Kebawa pin ètò wa. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá nílé lóko. Orúkọ tèmi ni wọ́n pè ní OLAYOMI KOIKI, tí gbogbo yín mọ̀ sí Koikimedia, bringing the world closer to our doorsteps. Regionalism. This message that I'm about to read out, which I'm preparing, was sent to me by the leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination, Professor Adebanji Akintoye, for those that are asking for a regional government. Let's take this short interlude and I come back. Is it behind me?
Nigeria to fail in the education, to fail in the health, infrastructure, what fail you? Who cannot fail you? I want to fail in body and so on.
Is it behind it?
Where did you put it? Stop disturbing me, okay? wọ́n bó ọ̀nà ọ̀nà náà ọdún mẹ́fà wọn ní sí eruku pàrọ̀ àdúgbò ta. Wọ́n náà na Nàìjíríà lẹ́nu sunkún ẹ̀rí bẹ́ẹ̀ gbà. Nàìjíríà tó fẹ́ ní bí education tó fẹ́ ní bí health infrastructure wọ́n fẹ́ ní ohun kan náà fẹ́ ní ẹwà náà fẹ́ ní ìbọ̀dù ẹ̀ sunkún ìran rẹ nígbà yìí. Gbogbo kọ́ọ̀pù tí ẹ gbà ìwọlé ẹjú mọ́ mi rí. Àfáwé náà wá sí wọn kí lórí wọn na ọmọ wa lánàá ni ó ní ìlú pé ọmọ rẹ̀ ká nù wọn. Kọ́lá tí Nàìjíríà bá gbọ́ bọ́ọ̀lù tí a bá yege ìbí wà náà tó wà sọ. Ẹ yege bí eré ipá ẹ fẹ́lẹ̀ níbi gbogbo nǹkan kò sẹ́ni kéde kò sí pa. Bẹ́ẹ̀ yóò kọsẹ̀ kò lè rí òkun lọ́sítà. Kò sí náà kò sóni. Wọ́n bọ́ọ̀lù ọ̀nà lọ ọdún mẹ́fà wọn ò ní sí eruku pàrọ̀ àdúgbò ta. Wọ́n náà na Nàìjíríà lẹ́nu sunkún ẹ̀rí bẹ́ẹ̀ gbà. Nàìjíríà tó fẹ́ ní bí education tó fẹ́ ní bí health infrastructure wọ́n fẹ́ ní ohun kan náà fẹ́ ní ẹwà náà fẹ́ ní ìbọ̀dù ẹ̀ sunkún ìran rẹ nígbà yìí. Gbogbo kọ́ọ̀pù tí ẹ gbà ìwọlé ẹjú mọ́ mi rí. Àfáwé náà wá sí wọn kí lórí wọn na ọmọ wa lánàá ni ó ní ìlú pé ọmọ rẹ̀ dánú wọn. Kọ́lá tí Nàìjíríà bá gbọ́ bọ́ọ̀lù tí a bá yege ìbí wà náà tó wà sọ. Ẹ yege bí eré ipá ẹ fẹ́lẹ̀ níbi gbogbo nǹkan kò sẹ́ni kéde kò sí pa.
Gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀dọ́ tá a jọ ń káàkiri ọ̀dọ́jọ́ ni wá ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ kí a fi àyè gba Fúlàní lórí ilẹ̀ àwọn bàbá wa ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú ọba mọ́ ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú jòyè mọ́ nígbà tá a la fẹ́ jà fún àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa táwa ń kọ́kọ́ ń bú ọba tá à ń bú jòyè èmi náà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ rí owó pẹ́rẹ́ àmì padà ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bú àgbààgbà kankan mọ́ ẹ mọ̀ polóṣèlú kankan ẹ̀rù kálukú ń bẹ̀rù wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀ ọba ò lè sọ ìjòyè lè sọ ẹ jẹ́ ká ronú ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ ká bá àwọn bàbá jàmọ́ ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ bú wọn mọ́ ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ àṣẹ wọn náà wà lá pẹ̀lú wọn àwọn àtọ́ bá jó lóṣèlú tá a bá fẹ́ kọ́ wọn rẹ̀ wá lọ́wọ́ á gbé wọn mọ́ra láàfin á gbé wọn mọ́ra ni à ní bú wọn mọ́ ẹ mọ̀ jẹ́ àṣejẹ̀gbọ́n mọ̀ jẹ́ àdàlúrú a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì yìnbọn a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì dàlúrú gbogbo protest mo ṣe ní ìlú Nàìjíríà mi ò rí ibi tí mo ti ẹnìkan lè sọ pé mo pààyàn tàbí mo jó nǹkan náà tàbí mo bà nǹkan jẹ́ mo lọ bísù torí pé olówó lèmi náà ń dì mọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tó lọ́n fún yàn lọ́n fún mi mi ṣe tálákà tó tẹ́ pé mo dìde fún ìjà Yorùbá big man ni mi àwọn tó jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi tó súnmọ́ mi tó ní owó ní kí ni mo wá lọ bẹ̀ pé sọ́wọ́ ni mò ń fẹ́ ni kí n sọ yìí tí mo fẹ́ mo ní ìṣòro owó àní ọ̀rọ̀ ìran mi ni mò ń sọ kí n wọ gbowó kí n gbéra kí n pé mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ bá gbowó mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ oníbodè òfin gbowó kí n kójó wọlé kọ́kàn mi balẹ̀ kí n dá wa mọ́tò kí n mọ́ rìn bọ̀ kí Fúlàní mọ́ dá mi dúró títì kí n délé kí bàbá sọ pé kí n gbé tírélà sùn kí n mọ́ gbé lọ àwọn bàbá wo lè lóko mọ́ wọn ò lè lódò ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ká ti àwọn bàbá wa lẹ́yìn ká dá security ti wá lẹ̀ ká sọ fún wọn kí wọ́n bá wa fọwọ́ tì í ká lé wọn kó nu oko wa ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ Jésù Olúwa wa.
Now, let us go through in tí bàbá wa tọkọ nípa àwọn tí wọ́n ń pè fún regional government. A rí pé lẹ́nujọ́ mẹ́ta yìí a bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń gbọ́ awuyewuye oríṣiríṣi àwọn tó ní àwọn fẹ́ regional government. Ṣé regional government is it a new thing? Àbí nǹkan tí a ti ń gbọ́ bọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀? Kí ló fẹ́ yàtọ̀ nínú regional government tó ń pariwo àti n tí àwa ti ń sọ bọ̀ látijọ́ yìí? So let us tap into the knowledge of another, many of what the leader of the Yoruba nation, Professor Banji Akintoye, has always told us. Let us tap into his wealth of knowledge. Regionalism cannot help us Yoruba. Regionalism cannot help us Yorubas. Why? Kilo fa, kilo de. All these I'll be reading out in this beautiful write-up from an 89 years old historian, a man that believes that his people needs to now come out of this contraction that the British put together for their own selfish interest. And that is Professor Adebanji Akintoye, national leader of the Yoruba self-determination struggle. Tí ó bá jẹ́ pé lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ yín lè máa kọ́kọ́ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa, látara pé ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ Yorùbá nation àbí ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń gbọ́ àbẹ́ ẹ̀gbọ́ tẹ́lẹ̀, kí ni leader the national movement of the Yoruba nation struggle? We are not political parties, and the Yoruba nation is not affiliated with any of the political party presently in Nigeria or outside Nigeria. The Yoruba nation movement is an inalienable right, like I always say. But many Nigerians thought that asking for this is like asking for war. Maybe we should listen to this before I read more about this beautiful write-up.
There is one constitutional issue in the UK that I'm really interested genuinely to know what your opinion is on it, and that's Scottish independence. It might be something that you haven't given much thought to, but over here it's such a live debate because, of course, we're looking for a new leader of the Scottish National Party. And one of the arguments is that, look, Scotland tends to attack more left politically. They've obviously had a Conservative government in Westminster for over a decade. What's your instinct on it? What's your gut say?
Look, I'm not an expert on UK politics. I very much appreciate what the people of Scotland have done, what they're fighting for. And my, initial thought, not being an expert, they want to go their own way, they should be allowed.
So you think that they should at least have the opportunity to
that would seem to me. Don't tell anybody I said that.
Don't worry, that's just between us.
Okay.
Don't worry, it won't go anywhere.
Refused at first, but we have to remember, and this is a really important point, that self-determination is an inalienable international right and a law as well. And other countries will recognise Scotland's democratic choice expressed at the ballot box. They will recognise that because that is the route that many other countries have taken in order to become independent. And just to make that point, that international law is very pragmatic on that point, so we should have confidence in that. Other countries were refused at first, but we have to remember, and this is a really important point, that self-determination is an inalienable international right and a law as well. And other countries will recognise Scotland's democratic choice expressed at the ballot box. They will recognise that because that is the route that many other countries have taken in order to become independent. And just to make that point, that international law is very pragmatic on that point. So we should.
The reason why Mokoko play the two videos, the first one was a rally that the Yoruba nation participated with those also that are in support of the Palestinians that have been killed by the Israel, where over 40,000 lives have been lost. So the rally was held right in Liverpool. And that was our own participation. So having a rally in London of Yoruba Nation is also as good as having a rally anywhere in the world. You might ask why, but like I said, it is part of the awareness. And just in case that there is a war or crisis in Nigeria, I want to what am I aware about the Yoruba people who will sympathize with us, as millions of people are sympathizing with the death of innocent Palestinians being massacred and killed by the Israels. So, and we know that Tabamadikwe, we are going to push out in Nigeria as well. Should the military or anyone wants to also kill us, we will get more people that will eventually come out. But and then things happen in Nigeria, they might not know. So it is important that we continue to highlight many of the danger in Nigeria. So now let's come back into the article as we are now fully set to read it through. It might be a couple of few minutes before I finish reading it. I'm going to read it in English. Please do not always tell me to speak in Yoruba. So Yoruba, I am not communicating to you alone. I am speaking to the international community, and I can speak in our beautiful language, and I can also communicate in Yoruba. If you want a Yoruba full program, you can go to where they speak a full Yoruba conversation in Boromiro. But right here, I can decide how the program will be run. Please do not disrespect the people on this platform. You have the right to walk away, but if you sit back, you might learn one or two things on the reason why we are campaigning. I do curse a lot on this platform, and I will send you back to your father and your mother. But if you're just one of those that just want to listen and you decided you are not going to agree with us, it's also fine. But one thing I can tell you is that we are preparing the burial ceremony of Nigeria, and this is all we are doing. It's just that it is already dead, but to bury it is what we are all fighting for. So let's read through. Regionalism cannot help us. Yoruba by Professor Adebanji Akitoye, the national leader of the Yoruba self-determination struggle. Some of our bright Yoruba men are holding up restructuring and regionalism these days as the cure to all Yoruba problems in Nigeria. They seem to forget that among us Yoruba, demands for restructuring or a return to regionalism of the 1950s has been going on for many decades. The demand is far from new. I know of no elderly and politically notable Yoruba man who has never raised his voice in support of restructuring or regionalism. Though restructuring is reasonably demanded, yet we have never achieved even the slightest progress with it, because the Fulani political elite, who have been dominating over Nigerians' political life since independence, are resolutely opposed to it, because the Fulani are under pressure and are desperate today. They are more tenaciously opposed to restructuring or regionalism. The ones threatening that they would rather go to war than accept restructuring, and they have not given up that stance. As long as we Yoruba remain part of Nigeria, we are likely to have some Yoruba people demanding restructuring or regionalism off and on until we succeed in achieving our self-determination and our sovereign Yoruba country, separate from Nigeria. But for us who have been fighting dedicatedly and loyally for self-determination for our Yoruba nation, it is unwise to now begin to place any serious hope in restructuring or regionalism. Definitely, we must avoid asking our Yoruba people to believe that demanding restructuring is as good as asking for our separate Yoruba sovereign state now. Our demand for our nation's self-determination and a separate sovereign state much more promise and hope now than the old demand for restructuring. Instead of fighting a meaningless and pointless war, let us all put our more energy into what we have been doing to advance our self-determination struggle so far in the past 4 years. Those of us who have been engaging in awareness campaigns or praying for God's support to our cause, or organizing or holding meetings, or organizing and holding mass rallies, or speaking loudly on the social media, or taking our Yoruba cause to foreign government, foreign agencies, foreign dignitaries, should do more now than we have been doing before. We are fighting to free our splendid Yoruba nation from the chaos, racket, corruption, reading, and poverty-generating country of Nigeria, a country increasingly despised and rejected in the wide world. We have no time or leisure to fight over anything concerning Nigeria. Our chances of freeing our nation are getting better and better. More and more countries, international agencies, foreign dignitaries are paying attention to our Yoruba nation struggles for our separate country, and more confidentially giving us support. Moreover, at home in Nigeria, the country of Nigeria is weakening manifestly as more and more groups are waging war against public security, or are openly threatening the government or demanding their nation's separation from Nigeria. Many nations already have their self-determination demands before the government of Nigeria. The Igbo are demanding their sovereign Biafra. We Yoruba, our Oduduwa Republic. The Ijaw are demanding an Arewa Republic. And the large Hausa nation is rising up its head under the impact of all these developments. The economy of Nigeria has weakened seriously and continues to weaken, and terrible poverty and hunger grip the lives of virtually all Nigerians. At the same time, within our Yoruba land in Nigeria, as well as in the large Yoruba diaspora worldwide, the quest for our separate Yoruba country has gained and is gaining great momentum. For the first time, some of our traditional rulers, our Obas, with their enormous prestige in our Yoruba society, are stepping forth to give their very influential backing to our self-determination struggle. Our mostly educated youth are increasingly powerfully leading our struggle. More and more of these youth, as well as our traditional hunters associations, are increasingly boldly stepping forth to defend our homeland against marauding Fulani gangs. Our women, traditionally very influential in our Yoruba society, are rousing themselves and organizing for our struggle. The wide world is watching closely the growing signs of Nigeria's disintegration, as well as the massively growing readiness of the Yoruba people for a separate country of our own. We Yoruba are by virtual intellectually sophisticated, intellectually agile. We tend quite often to engage intellectually games. But today is not the kind of time we will be engaging in intellectual games that divert our Yoruba people's attention to such a big distraction as restructuring or regionalism. We Yoruba are today very close to our goal, and we should be very seriously focused on it. Those who are promoting restructuring and regionalism among us are telling us that these are the easy to achieve, but they are wrong, terribly wrong. In fact, it is very possible that our self-determination struggle could achieve its noble goal before any restructuring process can get off the ground. For all we know, the restructuring process may never officially and seriously start, and if it starts, it may take years to complete. Our brethren who are assuring us that restructuring can be accomplished soon and that we can be blessed with our Yoruba region in a restructured Nigeria soon, obviously lack a full understanding of what needs to be done to achieving restructuring. They are saying that all that is needed is that the National Assembly should pass some amendment to the obvious 1999 Constitution, and that the President of Nigeria should then sign the amendment and the process will be completed. But they are wrong. As things stand today, what is needed is not a mere amendment to the existing Constitution, but the making of a totally new Constitution. And the making of a new Constitution will need a calling of the National Constitutional Conference, the work of a Constitutional Drafting Committee, a Constitutional Review Committee, to review the product of the Constitution Drafting Committee, a national referendum to give the final approval of citizens to the draft. All of these can take years to complete. In contrast, with the Yoruba can reach our self-determination goal very soon, long before the completion of any restructuring process. Therefore, our most important decision, individually and collectively, must now be vigorously and dedicatedly continue our struggle along the lines that we have been going in the past 4 years, the lines that have given us more and more confidence in success and victory. Our final victory is sure, and it shall come very soon. Even in the unlikely chance the restructuring happens, it will give our Yoruba nation nothing of a real value. We will still need to continue our struggle for our self-determination, and we still need to pray that Nigerian resistance to our should break down. In a restructured Nigeria, our self-determination struggle will become more difficult, and our achieving of self-determination will become essentially impossible. Since Nigerian ruler will be able to tell the world that we Yoruba have a regional government and that therefore all our complaints in Nigeria has been satisfactorily addressed, and the world will be ready to accept what the Nigerian government says. The proponent of restructuring are saying that our region's government will automatically be able to hold our self-determination referendum, but they are wrong. The government of Nigeria can still prevent or foil our referendum, similar to our government of Spain prevented for years and then made nonsense of the referendum that was planned by the Catalonian provincial government for the province of Catalonia in Spain. With the government of Spain ultimately charging the topmost leaders of the Catalonian provincial government with the high crimes. Meanwhile, while we will be tangling with the government of Nigeria, we shall still continue to be co-citizens with the Fulani in Nigeria, and they will still have the constitutional right as Nigerian citizens to enter our homeland at will to kill, maim, rape, destroy, and kidnap. And even more menacing, they will still hang over our heads the possibility that the northern military official could suddenly stage a military coup and take Nigeria with us in it back into the horrors of military rule. And furthermore, while some of our brethren are now romancing our return to our Yoruba region in Nigeria and holding it up as a cure to all our problems in Nigeria, we Yoruba must not forget that we once had a region in Nigeria, and that our great offense was that our region was progressing much faster than the rest of Nigeria. The consequent anonymity against us led to the plot that they launched a massive attack against our region in 1962. The federal and the British covert subversion of our leadership that turned some of our Yoruba leaders into the traitors against our Yoruba nation. The federal declaration of an emergency over our region, the suspension of the regional constitution and elected regional government, the imposition of a sole administrator on our region, the cutting away of part of our region, the devastation of our region's development achievement, the imprisonment and trumped-up charges of the foremost makers of our region's progress and prosperity, and the rigging of our election in the order to impose on us rulers who are prepared to submissive to the Fulani-controlled federal government of Nigeria. Why should we behave as if we have forgotten these things with a question mark? What guarantee do we have that these things cannot happen to us and our region in Nigeria again with a question mark? Therefore, I call on all Yoruba people to stand up bravely and add more energy on our self-determination struggle. Nigeria is weakening and sinking manifestly, and the world is taking notice. We Yoruba are knowledgeable enough to avoid Catalonia's big mistake, the mistake of concentrating on mobilizing support on only the Catalonians at home for the Catalonian self-determination struggle, and the failing to seek the support in the international community. In a world in which the fate of self-determination struggles depend heavily on the worldwide diplomacy and foreign support, we know that it was international support and intervention that made the Republic of Sudan peacefully agree to a referendum for South Sudan. We also know that this was the same kind of support and intervention that made it possible for the small nation of East Timor to achieve its referendum. It is separation from the powerful country of Indonesia. Knowing these things, we Yoruba are walking on the right path to victory. This is not time to allow distraction among us Yoruba people over a doubtful goal like restructuring or regionalism. It is time to brace up, join hands together, push down the obstacles on our way, mobilize heavily for support in the wide world and the speed to our goal of national self-determination and the national sovereignty. We can do it. We Yoruba are no cowards. We are the largest and the strongest indigenous nation in the Black Africa. We are a nation blessed with abundant and a varied talent. Yes, we can achieve our nation's sovereignty very grandly, and we can do it very soon. Now, what I'm going to do now is read a little bit more with more analysis on what Professor Adebanjo Akintoye, the national leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination Struggle, have said. Mashallah, the Yoruba as much as I can. But in Tibaban from what I have read, I am reading it for the first time as you are all reading as well, is that Kama Jeki àwọn tí wọ́n fẹ́ distract wa kó tún gbé ẹ̀mí wa kúrò látara Yorùbá nation tá ti ń bá bọ̀ látọdún mẹ́rin. In tó fẹ́ ṣe ni pé nígbà tá a bá ti sọ pé a fẹ́ regional government, àgbáyé máa sọ fún àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá pé a ti gba ta fẹ́ nìyẹn, kò dẹ̀ sí nǹkan tá tún lè ní à ń pariwo Yorùbá nation mọ́. Fún ẹni tó jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń bẹ nílé àtọmọ Yorùbá tó ń bẹ níta, ọ̀nà ọgbọ́n àrékèrèkè, ọgbọ́n trick, ọgbọ́n gbà má gbà tán, òun lélẹ̀ tí wọ́n tún gbé jáde. Gbogbo àwọn tó ń pètò regional government wọ́n mọ̀ dájú pé tá bá ti sọ pé a gba regional government, ó máa léwu fún wa láti ní àtúnfẹ́ dá dúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè látara ìntí àwọn Catalonia náà ti ṣe. Bàbá wa ń jẹ́ kó yé wa pé ká má jẹ́ kí wọ́n kó ẹ̀mí wa kúrò látara ìtafẹ́. Lóòótọ́ àìtí ìgbà, but lára àwọn tá a máa fi gbà ni pé a máa ṣe the same diplomacy, engagement, foreign intervention. Gbogbo ìgbà ni mo máa ń sọ fún wa nípa ìlú kan tí wọ́n ń pè ní East Timor. East Timor was mentioned in Baba Akintoye discussion again. East Timor, how ni wọ́n ṣe gba independence wọn àti pé ọ̀nà wo ni wọ́n gbà. How did East Timor gain their independence? Was it through just an ordinary fight, or was it through a multiple engagement? Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá lẹ́nu tí à ń ṣàlàyé fún pé ìran Yorùbá better off kò dá dúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè, but àwọn tó tún ń gbé ọ̀rọ̀ regional wọlé, ìtọ́ fi ṣe ni pé wọ́n fẹ́ lock wa pọ̀ sínú Nàìjíríà nítorí pé tá a bá ṣì wà ní gẹ́gẹ́ bí regional government, a ṣì wà nínú Nàìjíríà nìyẹn. A jẹ́ pé àìtí ìdádúró tán Nigerian passport láṣẹ máa lò. Nàìjíríà ló sì máa darí wa, but a ní àṣẹ díẹ̀. But in tí Nàìjíríà bá wá ṣe ni pé àwọn 80% àwọn Fulani northerners tí British ti prepare tó ti wà nínú military for a very long time, wàá kọ́ gba government mọ́ yín lọ́wọ́ again, and wàá kó gbogbo wa sínú inú làálò àti ìdààmú. Ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ wo báwo ni East Timor, ìlú kékeré tó wá fi fìtínà wọn ìlú tó ń pè ní Indonesia kó tó di pé Ọlọ́run wá gbọ́ àdúrà wọn. Let's listen to this, our professor
Step into Wix.
Professor James Carl Linzer. We have used this video multiple times, but this video was generated 3 years ago. How did East Timor win independence? Ọ̀nà tá a fẹ́ fi win independence wà lóye ká máa sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí. A tún ní láti ṣe máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa regional government tó fẹ́ gbé ẹ̀mí wa kúrò látara òtítọ́ tí a gbé dání. Torí pé wọ́n mọ̀ pé òtítọ́ la gbé dání, and they are worried, they are scared. They do not want the òtítọ́ kó di confirm wa lọ́wọ́, and this is the reason why every one of them are pushing the agenda. And don't be surprised, ẹni tẹ́tí mọ̀rí tẹ́lẹ̀ wá lò against wa pé kó lọ máa pariwo regional government. Ẹni tẹ́ mọ̀rí tẹ́lẹ̀ wá lọ gbé dìde pé kó wá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa regional government. Bàbá jẹ́ kó yé wa pé wọ́n ti ń pariwo regional government nísìn kò ń ṣe lẹ́ni lọ́ọ́ ti ń pariwo regional government. Regional government has always been something that have been talked about since 1950. Nígbà tá a gba òmìnira lọ́wọ́ òyìnbó ní 1960, ọdún méjì ni wọ́n fi ń ṣèpàdé ní Lancaster House nípa ọ̀nà wo ló máa convenient, ọ̀nà wo ló máa lè jẹ́ àṣeyọrí tólúkálukú máa dá dúró níwọ̀nba tiẹ̀ tó máa ṣèjọba tiẹ̀ lọ kó tó di pé wọ́n da regional government yẹn rú. So nǹkan tó bá fẹ́ ṣe nísìnyí ni pé wọ́n fẹ́ gbé ẹ̀mí wa kúrò látara ìlú, kí ló ń pè ní ìlú, ẹni tó ń sọ èdè kan náà, ẹni tó jẹ́ ẹ̀yà kan náà, àwọn tí wọ́n jọ jẹ́ àwùjọ èèyàn, àwùjọ tí wọ́n kì í ṣàwùjọ ọmọ Biafra, a kì í ṣe Ìgbò. Ìgbò dá dúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìlú kan ni kó tó di pé òyìnbó dé láti wá da gbogbo ẹ̀rú tó tún wá amalgamate. Haúsá dá dúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìlú kan ni. Àwọn Fúlàní tá à ń sọ yìí 18th century làwọn dé wá bá wa, tí wọ́n kó ìdààmú wá kó wá bá wa, tí wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí í ṣe pé àwọn làwọn wá jẹ́ ọ̀gá lórí gbogbo wa. Ẹ má jẹ́ kẹ́ni kankan kó fi ọgbọ́n olè, ọgbọ́n gbà má gbà tán tó tún máa sọ fún wa pé ká kọ́kọ́ lọ gba regional government. Kí la kọ́kọ́ fi gba regional government fún nígbà tá a bá lè dá dúró gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè? Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́ Professor Lindsay bó ṣe ṣàlàyé fún wa bí East Timor tí ó jẹ́ ìlú kékeré lára àwọn ìlú tó ń bẹ lágbàáyé lẹ́nìí tóun náà fi di a full government. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí fún dinner fún gbogbo ẹni tó bá gbọ́ tẹ́lẹ̀, dinner wáyé mọ́ níjọ́ Thursday níjọ́ kẹwàá oṣù kẹwàá ọdún 2024. Ó máa wá níjọ́ Friday ọjọ́ kọkànlá nínú oṣù kẹwàá ọdún 2024. The rally stand as it is on the 12th day of the month of October. Láti BBC ni a ti máa gbéra. Koikimedia Live, ẹ bá gbọ́ wọlé share button and love and like. Happy Sunday.
2002, the small Southeast Asian country of East Timor finally became independent after a campaign for statehood that had lasted for well over a quarter of a century. While many observers see East...
Now, for quarter of a century, over 30 years, ni East Timor fi ń pè fún ó fi dá dúró. So, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń sọ nísìnyí pé bàbá Akíntóyè àti Ìgbòho ti slow jù láti lè kó wa kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà, even after only 4 years of hard work, finance, late night meetings, engagement, rallies, and many others. 30 years ni East Timor ni wọ́n fi prepare kó tó di pé wọ́n pull out. But ọ̀nà wọ́rọ́gbà pull out òun la ṣe ń gbọ́ látọ̀dọ̀ professor yìí.
East Timor's quest for statehood as a model for other territories seeking independence.
It is a model fún àwa táwa náà ń gbètò fún independent. A ṣe lè máa béèrè fún independent. Kí ni wọ́n ń pè ní independent? Kíyàn dá dúró, kíyàn gba òmìnira. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá gbà ní regional government, gbòmìnira o. We are just literally a little bit halfway through. But wọ́n máa fi yẹn tún lock wa mọ́lẹ̀. Ṣé lọ́wọ́ máa sọ fún international community pé wọ́n ti gba regional government, even though a regional government ní bàbá ṣe sọ nínú intercarton lẹ́ẹ̀kan ni pé it will take even years and years before you can achieve it. Kò ń ṣe lẹ́ni náà ti ń béèrè fún regional government. The agreement and the arrangement from the British that were running Nigeria as their own affairs, as a business center, during the period tó máa fi fún wa ní independent, which is not something that they wanted to give until there was pressure by the leaders of that era. Wọ́n tún wá ṣe ìpàdé kọ̀kọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn northerners pé intẹ́yìn máa ṣe ni pé àá fún yín ní regional government but ìyẹn lọ di military mú. Ẹ jẹ́ káwọn máa kàwé kẹ́yìn máa fọ́gi mọ́ wọn lórí. Ẹ jẹ́ káwọn máa kàwé kẹ́yìn dominate military. Ẹ jẹ́ káwọn máa kàwé àwọn ló máa ṣe ẹrú fún yín. So gbogbo ọgbọ́n ká wá lọ ṣe regional government, ọgbọ́n olè táwọn kan tún fẹ́ gbé wá nìyẹn. Nígbà tí wọ́n mọ̀ dájú pé in tó bá lè mú East Timor tó gba òmìnira, they got their independence. That should be a template. Wọ́n ní ẹni tó bá ti ṣe rí òun ló yẹ ká wo àríkọ́ bó ṣe ṣe. Why do we want to look back for a regional government that was given, destroyed, through as many covert and British interests. British is an interest in Nigeria, just like the other European and international community. But they can still work with an independent countries. But àwọn kọ́ ló máa ṣèyẹn fún yín. Ẹ̀yin lẹ máa lọ gbé ìgbésẹ̀. Ẹ̀yin lẹ máa make effort. Ẹ̀yin lẹ máa push so that you can achieve a full autonomous independent country. France àti Germany ò lè gbé papọ̀. They would rather live separately. That is why they are called France and the French citizen. That is why they are called German and the German citizen. A Belgium citizen, a Finland citizen. Àwa náà fi máa jẹ́ nǹkan máa pè ní Yoruba citizen. Àfẹ́jẹ́ kọ́ ṣe máa pè wá ní Nigerian citizen under a regional government. It is all a fraud.
As I'll show, it actually falls into a rather unusual category of independence movements in international relations. Hello and welcome. My name is James Kerr-Lindsay. If you're new to the channel, here I take a look at international relations, conflict, and the origins of countries. The vast majority of the world's independence conflicts are secessionist in nature. These are disputes where a part of an established state wants to break away and become a country in its own right. In most of these cases, the parent state, as the country is trying to break away from is usually known, refuses to grant permission, and the territory in question is left with little to no official international support for its attempts to become independent. However, alongside these disputes, there have been a select few cases where an independence movement emerges in a territory that does in fact have a legitimate and widely recognised right to statehood. In these examples, the territory's path to statehood has in fact been thwarted by an external power, most usually a neighbouring state that has made a land grab for the territory at the point of decolonisation. In a recent video, I looked at one such case, Western Sahara. I put a link above and in the description below. However, another fascinating example was East Timor.
I've talked about the Western Sahara on this show. I to share many discussion about it. The Western Sahara, to mention here, is part of what is known as Morocco today. Western Sahara is another location partition between Morocco and Mauritania in April 1976, with the Morocco acquiring the north and the 2/3 of the territory. The conflict continued. Western Sahara is a disputed territory on the northwest coast of Africa. About 20% of the territory is controlled by the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, while the 80% is occupied and administered by the neighboring Morocco in a surface area of 266,000 square kilometers. The official language is Arabic, the capital is Laayoune, and they also have their own government. They are fighting on a daily basis with the Morocco government. Serious war. They have their own government that refuse to listen. So let me give you some of the updates from the Western Sahara before we go back to the East Timor. These are some of the headlines as of 3 days ago. Western Sahara conflict is over. Negotiating the terms comes next. If the federal government refuses to allow a proper dissolution of Nigeria, there will be war. There's no doubt about it in my mind. But we will come back again to the negotiation table. The question then is, why must we create blood when we can dissolve Nigeria without bloodshed? But the criminal Fulani elite are using, the weapon of another Yoruba man known as Tinubu. So Tinubu is like a gimmick. Many Yoruba think that it will give them the regional government, and they're excited that one day they will also be free with a regional government in their hands, and they will then use that to prepare for the total exit. Why not prepare for a full total exit of Nigeria right now, as against a fraudulent regional government that we are all campaigning for those that are making that such campaign? Even as far back as 2017, we have been told that there is no more room for what is known as regional government by our brother, Comrade George Akinola. And this was how he told us, warned us, that asking for a regional government was just too late. There is no point asking or demanding for regional government. But in Tinubu, another criminal Yoruba man, is using a regional government to save time so that he can enjoy as much of the wealth of Nigeria just like the previous administration have done so. There's no roadmap for you. There will never be security for you because Tinubu, we thought, was coming in to at least put a break on the insecurity in Nigeria. Rather, more Yoruba people have died, more Igbos have died, Hausas have died, even the other indigenous, whether you are Christian, Muslims, many innocent lives continue to be cut up as Tinubu takes up the battle that many people thought he was going to fight. He's not interested in saving Nigeria. He's just saving his own asset and preparing the future of his children to become another Jagaban number 2 in the Southwest, as he has used his own stolen wealth to prepare many criminals that are going to now want to control us in the near future. We must put a break on that. And asking for a regional government, this is what our brother said then.
Impediments to Yoruba development. Is the impediment to Yoruba development. Without Nigeria, we won't be where we are. 1962, we were far ahead of South Korea and North Korea. We were far ahead of China even. We had television before France. We had radio before South Africa. Now look at where we are today. I think it's a shame that even any Yoruba man can be talking about restructuring at this point in time. What are we restructuring? This country that is already shot to pieces? I don't think that's what we want. But they are always talking about giving Nigeria a chance. The process of Yoruba with Nigeria has come to an end.
So, before we go back to the East Timor discussion, Western Sahara conflict, this is the United States Institute of Peace. Very soon, we will be having this kind of institution talking about Nigeria because Nigeria is going through that part as a failed country. So, probably a few more months, yes, I don't know. But when there is an M1 situation, when there is an Woto from the Biafra, when there is also the Northerners that are preparing the exit by bringing up a Russian flag on the territory of Nigeria, that means we have 3 people that are ready to exit. And that exit might be painful, but we might end up being discussed on the UN Security Summit. But this is how the United States Institute of Peace talk about the Western Sahara. Western Sahara conflict is over. Negotiating the terms comes next. These are the key takeaways. France's recognition of Morocco's sovereignty is a decisive step towards ending the Western Sahara conflict. International acceptance is growing for Morocco control of the territory, but the Sahawi people and Algeria should negotiate terms of peace before the status quo become permanent. This is put together by the Director North African Programs. You will always think that these are the people that can tell us more about who we are, but that is the way they have prepared themselves. We know who we are Yorubas. We don't need any person to that Bionyibo, kó wá sọ fún wa bí ilé ayé wa ṣe máa rí. Wọ́n ní láti sọ fún wa, àwa la máa gbára wa kúrò lọ́wọ́ àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ amúnisìn. This article was put together on the 14th of August 2024. I'm just going to read a little bit and then we'll move back again. One of the Africa's longest war, ogun tó ti lọ for a very long time, was shifted towards a conclusion in July when France now recognized Morocco's claim of the sovereignty over the Western Sahara. That action, alongside the Morocco military advantage, effectively will leave the indigenous Sahrawi independent movement with no choice but to eventually settle for some form of autonomy with Morocco. While this reality will be unsatisfactory for the estimated 173,000 Sahrawis that are living in the refugee camps, their best option and that of their Baka, Algeria, is now to seize the opportunity to be negotiated for best possible peace terms with Morocco, ending a war that keeps so many stateless and living in squalor while also removing a major irritant to the Morocco-Algeria relation will improve the regional stability. This region in the indigenous Sahrawi population is a political military leadership. The Polisario Front have been fighting for independence. Ìwọ tó ń sọ pé ó ti pẹ́ jù tẹnu ẹ̀ máa wá rough bí àkàrà olóróró tó ń rò pé àti gba independent into máa wá easy ni, even though we pray it will come easy. They have been asking for their independence as far back as 1970 when Spain controlled the territory. It doesn't matter whether it is Spain, Portugal, whether it is Belgium, France. When they were creating the 1884 Berlin Conference, no African countries were consulted. In for dispute, just as we are also asking the same thing in Nigeria. So what I just want to point out is that nobody should give up. Nobody should think that a regional government is the best option when we can demand a full autonomous and independent country. So let's come back to the East Timor. We are currently about almost 2 hours. I'll open the phone line at exactly 2 hours to the program so that you can also make your own contribution, especially from regional government. The number that will call will be +44. Please do not call any other number and disturb the program. The number to call is already on the screen, +44, which is the UK code. WhatsApp only 7404405917. You're still watching a live transmission with Koikimedia on a Sunday broadcast. As we continue to say, the insecurity in Nigeria is becoming more and more dangerous. But for now, a full independent will stop that. We can take care of the borders. We can stop and demand who comes into our country and will live with us.
Unlike Western Sahara, which remains unresolved, East Timor did in fact eventually manage to gain its independence, but not without having to fight for almost 30 years.
I'm sure you heard that very well. East Timor, but not without having to fight for almost 30 years. 3 decades. We have not done 1 decade asking for Yoruba nation under the leadership of Professor Adebanjo Akintoye. And many of you have already got tired, fed up. Well, you have the right to pull out a little bit if you're stressed about it. Well, let me remind us, when you want something, you go for it. We want this country, we must all go for it. But when we now have another set of Yoruba people popping up with this regional government, it is just another tactic to drag us back when we can do it together. But rather, they don't want to be associated under the leadership of Baba Akintoye. Into one year, what if you are labe baba yen? Because what if that do? I don't know if you machi baba. I don't know if you machi baba. I don't know if you shebi oga, and that is why we are where we are today. So what a man say, kilo de ta itigba country, kilo de ton fa East Timor, without having to fight 30 years. And when I mean fight gidini, when she fight gidi, there was bloodshed all over the place because Awonto Kowodani did not want them to go. They wanted to keep them together as much as they can. But Awonto Kowodani, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me show you, even though this video might be moved, but it's just to tell you, after nearly 300 years of colonial rule, Portugal withdrew from the East Timor in 1975. That now sparked a bitter rivalry between a local groups that ended in the Fratellin forces declaring East Timor independent. As that declaration was going, Indonesia now invaded 9 days later, beginning a brutal regime of occupation that will last till 1999 for over 30 years. More than 200,000 East Timorians died. Many more suffered during the massacres, torture, and the starvation. Yoruba people have already encountered that in today's Nigeria. For the past 60 years, death massacre, starvation, kódà púpọ̀ nínú ilẹ̀ ń pariwo ebi ń pa yín lénìí. And the reason why they're pariwo ebi ń pa yín is not because of Tinubu, it's because Nigeria wants to starve us to death. In the 90s, a combination of the independent movement gained strength. Ṣẹ̀gbọ́n nǹkan tó sọ mẹ́yẹn ní 90s nígbà táwa ṣì ń ṣe rakatia military rule kó tó di pé wọ́n lọ tan Abiola pé kó wá dìbò ní 1993. They end up killing Abiola, they will end up kill Tinubu and they'll bring his body back to Lagos. It is not new. The Fulani will do that. It might not happen now, but the longer Tinubu is in power, the chances of him being alive is very, very slim, because that is the part of the agenda. So in 1990, while we are still in our schools doing whatever we need to do, even in the military era that destroyed us today, some people are even appreciating the evil monster Buhari, IBB, for the good job he did during his era as a military dictator. And it cost so much after he killed Deligiwa and destroyed many Yoruba lives. But Yoruba people, very forgetful people, when they don't get small rice and get indomie and spaghetti that Seyi Tinubu and his wife is distributing in Lagos this time around, their mindset is dead. Rather than fight the Fulanis, they are fighting the Igbos, bomb bastard. Rather than us face the enemies, they are saying that the Igbos are destroying Lagos, but they keep their eyes away while the Fulani is sucking every one of us dry, using Dankote and BUA and the rest of them as the proxies. But in the 90s, in East Timor, a combination of independent movement, which is exactly in Tawanon Chinese, Yoruba movement. Oh no, Ejekatulochi political party, bomb bastard. So we will leave these and go and do regional government. That is the distraction. You first push out. Oh, Kilafe Shirali for London is to gain the strength and the growing worldwide pressure and political reform in Indonesia now led to the UN-sponsored referendum on independence. A UN-sponsored referendum. Bí Tinubu bá fún ní referendum bá jìbìtì ní ẹ lọ bèrè lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó mọ̀ ní Chicago. He's a drug dealer because drug money was going into his account. And tó bá dẹ̀ ti involved in drugs, they cannot be trusted. Tinubu can convert Nigeria into Mexico. Child play in Mexico. The reason why the Americans are closing their borders is because of the infiltration of drugs and weapons and prostitutes. By the time Tinubu complete, you give it to the next northerners that are Fulanis because they are all already waiting. We must stop it, and it has to be done now. So anything like movement, you think peju, 30 years ni àwọn East Timor fi ja ogun gidi, over 200,000 people died. I told you 1 million Yoruba people will die before we cross the Ordos. Now, the historic ballot saw 78%. But the more awareness we do, the more death that will happen. The more awareness we create, the more people will be killed in the near future in Yoruba land. But if we don't do awareness and we sit and sleep, more people will die. And they will be conscious. They will be waiting for us to get the hell out of Nigeria because Tinubu cannot defend and protect them. Weak is a weaker element. But what led to the UN-sponsored referendum was because of a government that changed in Indonesia. It took 650 days for the new Prime Minister of Indonesia, as at that time, to bring a reform that allows the East Timorians to become a full independent country. Tinubu needed 4 years. It's just a criminal that needs 4 years. All he needs is that space of time, which he has already been for 1 year, to make Nigeria to dissolve without bloodshed. But he loves blood because blood is nothing to these criminals. It will create more bloodshed, and that bloodshed means many of you will die. So these are the reasons why the East Timorians that are happy today, they were happy alone because some people sacrificed. Those that die will be remembered, there's no doubt about it. But those that are alive will enjoy it. This is, imagine people that have been waiting for this independence. As soon as the UN sponsor, and I use the word a UN sponsor, if INEC sponsor your referendum, forget about it. If Tinubu sponsor your referendum, it's a fraud. Tinubu knows that, you know that. But if it's a UN-sponsored referendum, we can take that because the UN will conduct it. The UN will come down with all their equipment. We will all go and vote. We will be given chance to campaign more. But all this is not going to come without a fight. 78% of the East Timorians vote for independence, and the Indonesian-backed military responded by unleashing a wave of terror with attacks on the civilian, looting and burning homes until an Australian-led peacekeeping force arrived in September 1999. If you think that we cannot have a peacekeeping force to arrive in Nigeria to protect Yoruba people, it has been done before and it can be done again. So, let me tell you, they will kill the little they can kill, but a peaceful-led peacekeeping force will come down on the request of the UN Security Council and they'll come and protect us. It has been done before. It was done when the Australian came down on the 15th of September 1999, when some of you were thinking that you've got a democracy that you have now turned to where you are today. Latin 1999, Elomi, Otidintiko Dekakpenyimo. But as at that time in 1999, a country was going through a very difficult and a rough time. People wanted to go. 78% said yes. Yet, the government of Indonesia military idiot still went ahead and killed them. And the world said, no. What happened next was the Australian, under the UN Security Council, authorized the formation of multinational forces known as Interfact. It was headed by Australia with a mission: go into East Timor, restore peace and security, and protect and support innocent people that have been killed. All this it has happened before, and it will still happen again. Why then are we scared to make the final push? Why then to jẹ́ pé Ìgbòho nìkan la fẹ́ tì síwájú tí gbogbo wa ready láti face it together? Why then are we worried that tá bá jáde sójà máa pa wá? Mo tún jẹ́ kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá gbọ́ ilé tẹ́ ẹ̀ gbọ́ rí lórí program Koikimedia pé ní 1999 nígbà tí wọ́n ń pa wọ́n ní East Timor látara pé wọ́n ti gba independent wọn tán, because ẹni tó bá ti sọ pé àwọn fẹ́ referendum kan ti fún wọn tí wọ́n dẹ̀ ti rí high percentage ó jẹ́ kó máa lọ ni. They were almost killed and massacred. But the Australian peacekeepers traveled, but that didn't come up until the UN Security Council proposed it. So asking for Yoruba nation today is as good as anything else. If anybody is diverting your attention, if anybody is telling you that we should go into a regional nonsense, it is all a fraud. We must not give room to such. So Australians and the peacekeeping, note on terminology. Peace support operations are often divided into peacekeeping, lightly armed, and peaceful enforcement, heavily armed, and sometimes into the categories as well as in this section, peacekeeping operations are used as a blanket to cover all impartial multinational military-based intervention into areas of conflict. If tó bá sí conflict ní Nigeria wọ́n ní wá o, bóun ìkẹsùn sínú ilé kẹ má bẹ̀rẹ̀ conflict, kò sẹ́ni kankan tó ń bọ̀ wá gbà yín sílẹ̀. Most of it will just continue to die due to the negligence of our own stupidity. But about to push, military normal push. If you think that the Biafra don't know what they're going into, they know what they're going into. They know that even if the Nigerian government has the strength to fight them to the end, the world will intervene along the line. And that is why they are preparing for a full declaration, according to their Prime Minister, government in exile, Simon Ekpa, in the next couple of months. Nigeria is sitting on the keg of gunpowder, and many lives will be lost, but people will be free. Let's come out of this. And as I say, I've given you the background to the East Timor. I've given you the background to the regional government. Let me hear one or two from you as well, for those of you that want to contribute. This is the time to come into the program if you want to. And the number, like I said, is +4474 04405 We have one more hour to the end of the program. I will not take calls about quarter to the end of the hour. If you want to call in, this is the best time to do so. I will not pick your call when it's about quarter to the hour of the last 3 hours. Now, while we're going to wait for calls or not, let me first remind us again on this article, Tankalo, the gimmicks. Oh, let us go and be asking for regional government. But one more, the regional government here, so they want to use that to slow everybody down. Oh, Eloma Pariwo, regional government lafel, regional government lafel. But at the back of their mind, they are very sure that a regional government is not going to happen. Let me take you back to Professor Lindsay and hear more from how this final part of the East Timor, to conclude it, gained that independence just in 2002. Yes, Entobin in 2002, in that part of the world today, is a free man. But Entobin in Nigeria in 2002 is still being told that is the future of tomorrow, even though it's not ever going to be any future of tomorrow.
To secure it. East Timor, more properly and officially known as Timor-Leste, lies in Southeast Asia. Located on the island of Timor, it shares a land border with Indonesia to its west and is surrounded to its north and east by other Indonesian islands. Immediately to its south, across the Sea of Timor, is Australia, which lies approximately 500 kilometres or 300 miles away. At 15,000 square kilometres or 5,800 square miles, it's the 154th largest of the UN's 193 member states. Its population is around 1.27 million, making it 156th in terms of population size. The story really begins in the early 16th century, when the Portuguese first settled on the island and established a trading base. A century later, the Dutch...
I'm sure you heard that. Trading base. This is how the empire, the British Empire, they were just looking for how to survive. Gbogbo Nigeria to put together is just for them to survive. They just want to survive. And then nobody, if they survive, no, they will kill anybody to survive. So the British, during the time they were doing the colonialism, killed many innocent people. You can ask from the slave trade. You can ask how many lives were lost during that slave trade era. Or the people that were living in their territory, in their own little comfort, with their own tradition and culture, and disturb that culture, destroy that culture, call it a different name today, ask us to be speaking this nonsense English. But the Australian and the Spanish, the Portuguese, long ọgbọ́n olè jìbìtì ló máa ń ṣe, ọgbọ́n jìbìtì, gbogbo yẹn ni bàbá Akíntóyè ti gbọ́ tó ti mọ̀ as an historian student. Ìyẹn ni bàbá yẹn ṣe ń jẹ́ ká mọ̀ pé tá a bá ní ká lọ dúró sínú Nàìjíríà ká máa pariwo regional government, a ní rí àṣeyọrí kankan ṣe nínú even that regional government. I'm telling you, because gbogbo àwọn Igbo tẹ́ ń pariwo yẹn tí gbogbo yín pariwo lé lórí, wọ́n sì máa ní access sí gbogbo nǹkan yín nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo sọ fún yín. Gbogbo àwọn Haúsá yẹn àwọn Fúlàní, àwọn Gàmbàrí, àwọn Senegalese, àwọn Spain, àwọn this, àwọn that. And maybe some of you don't know. Let me remind you that we told you that all these bomb bastard Yoruba leaders, they are criminals. We are meant to stone them to death. Oje Kafi. Let me tell you about this particular one. Let's play this one first, and I prepare one more minute.
Also arrived. Colonizing the western part of the island, they forced the Portuguese over to the east of Timor. In 1859, the two countries formally delimited the boundaries between their two parts under the Treaty of Lisbon. This was followed by another convention signed in 1893. However, after another dispute arose, the matter was referred to the Permanent Court of Arbitration, which set the...
Let's leave the East Timor. I've given you as much of what I need to tell you about East Timor. Let's come back to these China, Nigeria, aircraft that we were told something has gone wrong. Now, do you know the person behind it is another criminal Yoruba man that sits in the Senate that would not endorse a Yoruba nation? Do you know that Ibukunle Amosun, that Yoruba man, Tomande Fila Guguru that told us that there was a rice pyramid, are you aware that is the one behind this China loan to Logba? And today now, we are all probably been sold. I told you. But ẹ̀yin Yorùbá ẹ̀ kì í gbọ́ràn, ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ràn lórí Koikimedia. Not gbogbo yín. Because you are thinking because I'm operating from my beautiful small house, because you expect me to be putting on the suit, to be talking like them. So when I told you that Ogun State has been sold, ta ló rántí ìgbà tí mo sọ? Before this aircraft incident, how many people remember? Please help me put it in the comment section. Ta ló rántí ìgbà tí mo sọ pé Ogun State has been sold? How many people remember? I can't remember the program we were doing, but I told us that what is Ogun State? How many people remember? Today now, the reason why Tinubu new plane, even though they've released 1, 2 is still being held. Imagine the giant of Africa, where the aircraft has been picked up. Eshegona Roledudua says yes, he remembered, because I will not tell lies. And the video evidence that I do are all there. Yes, Bishop Additional is confirming. Àwọn méjì tó ń gbọ́ program mi ni àwọn tó kù bóyá wọ́n rántí mọ́. But I told us. Now, let me remind us of this criminal called Amosun. He's a criminal guy. Forget about these, they are all criminals that are meant to be stoned to death. But we are not going to stone them anytime soon. What we are going to do for them, we will reserve that in our stomach. But we will engage them. Amosun has now break silent on the presidential aircraft that was seized at Zongufu Farm as an imposter. What do we know? Let's read a little bit. Former Ogun State Governor, criminal Ibukunle Amosun, that the children and Abike Dabiri are enjoying their life here in UK with me as well. I just want you to know, because I know that their family are living here as couples. Senator Ibukunle Amosun has cleared the air on the controversy surrounding the seizure of the Nigerian presidential jet in France. The media had reported that the French court had seized 3 jets owned by the Nigerian government amid a long-standing dispute with a Chinese company. Chinese have dominated Ogun State. Remember that there was a Yoruba woman that Chinese gave baby to and then refused to take. No, he wanted to take the baby out of the country in Ogun State. Púpọ̀ nínú ọmọ Yorùbá lẹ́nu níbẹ̀ l'Ogun State. Chinese ló ń fọ́gi mọ́ yín lórí. Èmi nìkan lẹ máa wá lẹ̀dí mọ́ lẹ̀dí mọ́ àwọn Chinese, because the Chinese controls you in Nigeria, in Ogun State. The row, according to the report, stems from a 2007 contract. How many contracts these bastards have signed on our behalf that have led us into where we are today? But as we they shout, as we they cry, Yoruba people, they say, shut up. Okoya Folayan also said, yes, he remembered. So Amosun was the one in government during the era of Chinese versus Ogun State government, Amosun. But according to the report, stems that in 2007, there was a contract between Songa Funchi Industrial Investment, whoever that is. We can do a small Google search and find them, I'm sure, if they exist anyway. Because some of these companies, you see, let's go Zonga versus Nigeria Final Award. I don't know what this is all about, but let's just click on it and see if anything comes up. And I can tell you that there have always been battle between, look, Nigeria is going through multiple battles around the world with different companies, countries, and if we are not careful, we will all end up as Chinese slaves, which I don't want to. So, for Yoruba nation, okay? We can still have an independent Yoruba country and go back and ask how all these can be sorted out amicably. Now, let me just read this that have popped up. The claimant, that means this has been going on until the presidential jet was seized. That is when we also, no, many things have gone underground. Amosun is no longer the governor. He'll probably die anytime soon as well. Now, so Chinese will now, I'm sure there will be Chinese policemen very soon in Ogun State. The claimant, Zango and Fuchan Industrial Investment Co. Limited, contend that in the summer of 2016, entitled for whose actions the respondent, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is liable in international law, deprive it of substantial investment contrary to the provisions of Article 2, 3, and 4 of a bilateral investment treaty between the People's Democratic of China and Nigeria, and that Zangosan is entitled to compensation from the Nigeria to be assessed by an arbitration tribunal pursuant to Article 9 of the treaty. Article another slave trade. We are still trying to fight the embattled amalgamation, but all these Yoruba criminal leaders continue to entangle us more with more treaty. And maybe some of you don't know the meaning of treaty, okay? Let's go and look at the English dictionary of what treaty is all about, because only God knows, only Eledumare knows how many treaty that these criminals have entangled us with. Treaty. Good morning and welcome. Our family. Treaty. A formally concluded and rectified agreement between states. A treaty is a formal legal binding, written agreement concluded by the sovereign state in international law. International organization can also be part to an international treaty. I told us that I work at a company called Linklater. Remember, Linklater, 1 minute, law firm. I hope that is the pronunciation. Yes, I worked in this company as a butler some years back. Years back. They are called Linklaters. It's part of my CV. What is the purpose of these Linklaters? Kilomanche, I can tell you that I found out that they are I think the third largest law firm in Europe. What they do is they deal with countries to countries. So when they want to sign these treaties, you can see why they keep coming to London, go to America and sign treaties. When Linklaters now comes in between Ogun State and China, they're not going to sign the treaty in Nigeria. They will fly to London. They will then have a meal, which is where we come in. A very beautiful meal, well served in a small room, and then they will go into a closed door and they'll be signing our life away. In Yoruba, what is Tagbugua Pata? So let me go into about us so that you can have a background about who these Linklaters is all about. So that I tell you, we have been sold on a different history. Linklaters can trace its history back to 1838, when Nigeria was not Nigeria, but it was a trading route for the British. So I'm sure some of these Linklaters, if I go and type and find out more, they are also done so many trade between Nigeria and other countries. I said, now I understand how all these treaties comes place. Linklaters can trace its history back to 1838, when John Linklater went into partnership with Julia Dodds to form the London firms of solicitors. Dodds and Linklaters, the firm merged with Payne, Bleed, and Oxtable in 1920. That's about 6 years after the fraudulent Nigeria independence. So Nigeria has always been a trade route with many law firms supporting them from here in the UK. I am not saying that Linklaters are, but we know from back to history that many companies in the UK back the corruption from Nigeria. Now, Linklaters and Payne first opened their office in Milan in 1962, then in New York in 1972, Brussels in 1973, Paris 1973, Hong Kong 1976, Tokyo 1987, Singapore 1992, Frankfurt 1992, Moscow 1992, Sao Paulo 1997, Bangkok 1998, Shanghai 1998, Madrid 1999. In 1998, Linklaters and Payne formed Linklaters, an alliance with 4 leading European law firms, and by the 2002, it had merged with D. Badit, Van Akke, Legal and Lowe's, and so on. So many of you that are not familiar with all these, this is where the awareness comes in, to prepare us that Ibukunle Ole, Ibukunle Omo Jaguda, Oti Tawadanu, because of an agreement between Zongasan Fuchi Industrial Investment and Ogun State government to develop what would have been a free trade zone where a massive industrial park was to be developed to attract investors. The agreement was then terminated between 2015 and 2016. According to the media report, Zangosan alleging it was forced out of the deal through a campaign of illegal acts. China to àwọn Chinese wọ́n sọ fún wa pé, well, alodrodin. So they've been waiting for the opportunity to seize this airline. They've been waiting for an opportunity to attack Nigeria directly or indirectly. Tí bá sọ fún ipa wa nínú ogun, ẹ máa sọ pé a sí nínú ogun. Like I said all the time, we are at war, but many of you think that the war will be fight with weapons alone. Today's war is being fought with the stupidity of your politicians. Your politicians that have entrapped us. Your politicians that have kept every one of us in danger. The danger is not just in Ogun State, the danger is across all Yoruba land. So as they feel the pain, but today, stupid Nigerians, the Yorubas, Mbaiboja, do you know that Chinese have taken over your land? Or you don't know? Okay. The Chinese have literally taken over your land in a big way, and they are already doing whatever can be done. So, no be today. These criminals that call themselves our political elite, our politicians, they've sucked us dry. I'm sure Amosun took out a loan. I'm sure he done so much. It is just because an aircraft was seized. This was when Amosun, in 2007, I guess it was still the PDP in power, if I'm right. And I hope I'm right with that. Please cross-check and confirm with me. Now, it doesn't matter. This is what we're saying to you. All these are dangers that must be avoided, but in a regional government, early avoided. So let's go back to the article. In the next section of this award, section 2, we explain the basic relevancy. Let's bring somebody in from the Twitter space to join us in the discussion. Then we continue. It's okay, Mr. Akede, let's hear from you briefly. Then I will continue since calls come through Twitter space or through the normal call. Can you open your mic and let's hear from you briefly? Thank you so much. Ekaro. Awania.
It's fight for all. In this era of technology, we know how this internet is very useful. The nǹkan kan bá ṣẹlẹ̀ lẹ́nu lágbàáyé kéèyàn tó lè rí kódà ìwọ́n tó gbé ìlú rẹ̀ wá ti mọ̀ how is because of the internet. So in terms of freedom fighter, we have a different dimension to fight. Sharing ní orí S, that is Twitter space. Twitter is very, very important to us as ọmọ Yorùbá. We have to take it serious. Sharing àti ní àwọn tó ń da irú papọ̀ wọ́n sáàkì nínú wọn. Because nowadays we see people using Yoruba name, but they are not for Yoruba nation. But we really need genuine Yoruba nation. If Koikimedia posts, the next 1 hour we want to see like 100 retweets, like more. That's how the news can spread. Why do you think they are talking about their family? So they have their own content in their side. They have their own media. But still, there are people supporting them, people reposting whatever to the post. But I don't know, we are just sitting down, watching, that is all. We have the hand up, we have the, that one doesn't mean you can be on space and still be posting whatever you want to do, and you will still be listening. This guerrilla warfare, that was the time we will see going into that space. The more we are shouting, the more we are creating the awareness. I'm expecting by now we shall get like more than 1,000 people on Twitter. Because anybody don't know, I learned it from Koikimedia. And today it's useful for me. Not only for me, no. Please, let your no be one and you download. It needs, we need it. Especially for this rally that is coming, we really need it. How do you want to post it? How do you want people to know about it? Wọ́n ká lè bá Nàìjíríà jà lélẹ̀ ẹnu wa àti mídíà yìí. Tí ẹni tí bá ṣẹlẹ̀ sí Nàìjíríà lẹ́yìn, if they want to debunk it, it's still the same internet they will use to debunk it, whether it's true or lie. And you see the people using Yoruba name to see, they are very good in history. They will like one side of everything, but they will not say the truth on Nigerian food. They will never say it. One side of the problem in Nigeria, one side of the point, but never to know the local Nigerian prayer, and yet they will disagree. And they will tell you they stand for the mansion. Please, this space is supposed to be like 100+ people listening, retweeting. It's very important. We really need it, especially before this rally. We really need it.
Definitely.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll come back to you. And to Bafeda Seto, Moki Baba Lekiti, Eshegoni, Tia Darapon, Moki Baba, when you are not from ọjọ́ Sunday, tí à ń ṣàlàyé. Nǹkan pè ní Twitter, ẹ rí pé òun ni mo gbé síwájú screen wa. Ẹ rí pé ó ṣíò pé a wà lórí Twitter space. Orí Twitter space ni brother wa tó bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ tán. In tó ń blink yẹn, òun ni pé mo wà lórí space by táwọn èèyàn tó ń gbọ́ wa. Tí bá gbọ́wọ́ lé nísìn, ó máa indicated. That is the Twitter space. I am live as well. This is my Twitter live. Space mi lele. I have, few people that are listening in the space, but only 3 people have retweeted. That is in terms of retweet. How do you get your message out? That is the difference between me and the government in exile, Simon Ekpa. So, ká lọ sí page Simon Ekpa, ká lọ wo bí àwọn Biafra ṣe ń react when it comes to, his own tweet. So, Laroy, Simon Ekpa has also posted something at about 2 hours ago, and it has already gained 12,000, reaction and over 693 retweets. That means that our Biafrans wants to exit. But teba lowo todo temi, I have also posted, apart from being live, I also posted the Igbo's dinner. Only one person has retweeted out of millions of Yoruba people around the world. You can see that kò sí engagement kankan lórí ẹ̀, apart from 178. We're not making money from this. It's just that the reaction is not there. So in terms of pé tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá join Twitter tó ń pè ní X, because X ló ń pè ní sìn or pè ní Twitter, more reason I ń pè ní Twitter pé ó ṣì easy fáwọn èèyàn láti understand. How can we post this? How can we post this? African Confidential wrote something. I've already retweeted it. I posted this 9 hours ago. 9 hours ago. Wákàtí mẹ́sàn-án sẹ́yìn pé a máa ṣe rally ní London. Not one single retweet. Would that make me to be fed up? No. But the problem is, tá bá gbọ́rọ̀ Igbo wá síbí báyìí, ẹ máa ṣe yányányányányányányá torí àwọn lè lè dé mọ́. Òun la mọ́sùn ti ta gbogbo yín dànù nísìn àtẹ̀mí àràtàtẹ̀jọ́ ọmọ Ògùn State ó ti tà wá dànù. So don't go and start destroying Igbo's property in your southwest because the criminal tẹ ká lọ mú mọ́lẹ̀ nísìn òun la mọ́sùn. We have told you that ẹ lọ darapọ̀ mọ́ Twitter is just like an app. You download it. This is the reaction of the Biafra each time Simon Ekpa posts something. Again, 2 hours ago, 7.7K reaction, 556 retweet with 35 comments. These are 2 hours ago, 677 retweets with 11,000 reaction. This means that Simon Ekpa is trending as we speak this morning. Trending Simon Ekpa Lele. You can see it on my side. Because why? Because our Biafra, they are taking advantage, and that means their message keeps going very good. So, but ẹni tí ó kàn jókòó sórí Facebook àti YouTube nìkan tẹ́ fi máa fi gbọ́ wa, no, you got to go and register a Twitter account and help us to push the message. Simon Ekpa is trending this morning. Nígbà mi máa wà ní top. Adébóyè ló ń trend láàárọ̀. I don't know why. WhatsApp is trending, Ibadan is trending. But apart from the major trending in Nigeria, Simon Ekpa is number one. And it's not because they're doing anything, it's because they have a strong Twitter warriors. They're not using gun, it's just a retweet and comment. So police teams reportedly shoot each other after mistakenly themselves for IPOB. Can you see that? This is Premier Times. Ọlọ́pàá para wọn, wọ́n mistake ara wọn fún àwọn IPOB members. Simon Ekpa wani, the terrorists have started shooting themselves. This was posted this morning at 7:16 a.m. Finland time with 15,000K view already. 15,000 with about 859. But our post in Connie 9 hours ago, fún kan tí ó wúlò fún wa. This is the reason why the movement, even in Europe, is not gaining a lot of reaction because in October. And this is the building, Tatimashi, the opposite of the BBC. So this is the building, and this is going to be at the BBC Broadcasting House in London, W1A1AA. If you're coming from anywhere, I've just used Seven Sisters. Or Ori Victoria Line, you come out of Oxford Circus, and it's just under a 7-minute walk with Girara. It is called the Broadcasting House Reception. And you will be able to meet us there on the 12th October 2024. Lágbára Ọlọ́run. But nígbà tí a bá make effort láàrin ara wa, no reaction, no retweet, kí ló fà? Ẹ wo òyìnbó tó ń kọrin ọmọ Yorùbá. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Arẹwà akíkanjú ọmọlúàbí. Ọ̀dọ̀ ẹni mo ti rí. Bẹ́ẹ̀ mi náà ṣe rí, mo rí pé nǹkan tó post. Ó ní Asake needs to understand that his fans are not only Yoruba, he needs to sing in English more. If Asake really wants to go far ahead, he should start singing in English. Caucasian fans. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́n tí òyìnbó yìí, Caucasian, bó ṣe ń kọrin Asake. That is Yoruba people. But nígbà táwa náà bá help ara wa, we will all struggle. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ ká struggle.
I don't care what you say. This track, undefeated. Can't beat it. the king of sound of blues. Hey, Ozu Shishe Domingo, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Saturday, nothing more. Sunday, come on, Saturday, nothing more. I show you the road, just show me your logo. Show your brother, come jump by the logo. Why do you like the logo? Oh, no, no, down my love to my okay, yo, Mr. Money, immediately, subsequently, frequently, high frequency, when I show God, you can see, my money, no, no, so, my baby, forever review. I don't care what you say.
About more value our So as we are almost 20 something minutes to the end of the program, let me appreciate those of you that have joined us and pick some of your comments. Remember that Igbo's visit is a very important visit to London. If you can't make the dinner, we expect as many of us to attend at least, the beautiful rally. This is for every one of us. Involved. But Tobani, you're not going to be part of it. Intention coming. Let me remind you that it could be somebody close to you, or it could just be you that could get caught up with this crazy system today. Mo bẹ̀ wá, mo rọ̀ wá, ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe ìtótọ́, ìtóyẹ lásìkò tó yẹ wá, nígbà tí ó yẹ wá nísìn. Àsìkò tó yẹ wá nísìn ni pé ká kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà. Ó yẹ wá tó pé ká kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà, kò sí àní-àní kankan níbẹ̀. Kò sí irọ́ kan tó tún gbọ́dọ̀ gbé fún wa mọ́ pé ká lọ máa save Nàìjíríà. Àjọṣepọ̀ wa àti Nàìjíríà ó ti mẹ́hẹ̀. Àsìkò tó, ilé tó lọ, ẹ̀yin ọmọ ìran ọmọ aládé. Àwa ìran tí Elédùmarè dá tó dẹ̀ dá wa dáadáa. Àwọn tí wọ́n kó wa sínú wàhálà àti ìdààmú yìí, wọ́n mọ̀ pé Ọlọ́run dá wa dáadáa, àmọ́ wọ́n ò fẹ́ gbà fún wa. Òun ni gbogbo eléyìí tí wọ́n ń ṣe tó fi sọ fún wa pé ká lọ save Nigeria. Nobody can save Nigeria. We should get the hell out of Nigeria now. Àsìkò tí a lè kúrò, òun la wà yìí. Àsìkò tó lè yẹ wá, òun la wà yìí. Kò dìgbà tá bá dàgbà ju bá ṣe yẹ lọ mọ́. Gbogbo wa náà láti dàgbà. A dẹ̀ túmọ̀ dàgbà, a máa dògbó dáadáa. Mo wá ń bẹ̀ wá, mo ń rọ̀ wá. Gbogbo àwọn tó bá ń parọ́ fún wa pé ká jókòó sínú Nàìjíríà, ẹ jọ̀ọ́, irọ́ tẹ̀ ń pa yìí, ẹ jẹ́ kí ẹ dákun ẹ dúró díẹ̀. Ẹ yé sọ fáwọn èèyàn wa pé Nàìjíríà ṣì máa ní àṣeyọrí nígbà tẹ́ mọ̀ pé àṣeyọrí Nàìjíríà kò lè jáde mọ́. Àṣìṣe tó pọ̀ tí wà nínú Nàìjíríà, ìtàjẹ̀sílẹ̀ ti pọ̀ jù. Gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá, ilé tó lọ. Bọ̀ kí lè má wá fi lọ, gbogbo wa ní iṣẹ́ ta máa ṣe. Lára iṣẹ́ ta fẹ́ ṣe, òun náà ni pé ká darapọ̀. Àdírẹ́sì rally yẹn àti updated. Òun ló wà nínú flyer. Bẹ́ bá flyer yẹn pàdé, ẹ bá wa pín flyer yẹn síbi tó yẹ kó lọ. Ẹ má ní kò kàn mí, ẹ gbé sórí timeline yín, ẹ gbé sórí status yín, ẹ gbé sí gbogbo ibi tó yẹ kó lọ. Yes, I mean, àwọn tó wà lórí YouTube àti Facebook, kò sí nǹkan tó bá pọ̀ jù náà tẹ́ bá join ní Twitter. So, mo kí wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí o. Mo kí bàbá Bámidélé Aliu. Mo kí Easy Azeez Badeshere. Mo kí brother mi Yemi Fatoki. Mo kí Olakunle. Bishop Adesina in Nigeria practice Ijaguda Jera system of government. Buju Badunu Ijakuje. The looting continue. Nigeria, àṣírí ẹ̀ ti tú. Many Nigerian government properties are seized all around the Europe and South America. Nigeria was quiet about them. This Chinese aircraft seize is an eye-opener. Mo kí bàbá wa, dádì wa Tèmídáyọ̀, Dennis Omitogun. Mo kí grandma Dúpẹ́ Agboola. Mo kí ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí Instagram. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí Twitter space. Ọkọ̀yà Fọláyan. Many Chinese companies are in Agbara, Igbese, Ogun State. When Omo Onile is online, cannot do anything. mo kí Mr. Jaye TV ẹ bá subscribe sórí channel wọn, mo kí Mr. Abiodun, mo kí bàbá wa Àjàdí Òsẹ́nì Kẹ́hìndé, mo kí dáàdi wa Wọlé Emmanuel, wọ́n ní Chief Sunday Igboho we love you. Mo kí Mr. Adeke Benson, wọ́n ní international poverty, a country tí ó lè ní àbàtì because it's part of the, badumu bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àbàtì fún rẹ̀. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ wa láti ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tí ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ mi ní gbogbo ìgbà tá a bá ti gbé ètò jáde. Ẹ̀yin lẹ̀ ń jẹ́ kí a rétò yìí ṣe torí pé tẹ́yìn ò bá sí ń bí kò sí àwa níbí báyìí. Mo kẹ́yìn tẹ́ wà lórí MixLR, happy Sunday, say Allahu Baba. Like I always say, it saves you a lot of data. Fẹ́yìn tí ẹ bá ní enough data, kẹ́ lọ máa gbọ́ app yẹn. We have upgraded it. It lasts for a few more hours that you will not miss anything out. Mokiaki Games, happy Sunday, Ogumola Abiodun. Mo ní gbogbo àti bá wálé lágbára Elédùmarè láìpẹ́ láì jìnà, àjọ máa lọ jàmàlà ni. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin èèyàn mi o, mo kí ìyá tó bí mi lọ́mọ. Àjọṣepọ̀ wọ̀ ní bàjẹ́, àmọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ kí wọ́n kó sí wa láàrin, torí àwọn tó fẹ́ kó sí wa láàrin pọ̀ ju àwa tí a ṣe ń ṣe lọ. Madam Bali, mo kí gbogbo àwọn ará ìlú Ìlọrin. One, it would be nice if Baba Akintoye is present in London. We are working on all things, and I can tell you that work is going on. Mo kí Baba Wasiu Tiamiu, mo kí Prophet Ologunoluwa, mo kí Omeyo, mo kí gbogbo àwọn Ìjẹ̀bú Òde, and there's a lot of other activity that is coming that I'm aware of. We'll be telling you all that. Only event kan mo máa gbé advert yẹn náà wá sí bíbáyìí. Kíní event of ṣe ní kíní I'm downloading it and I'll see if we can play before we go. Mo kí Àrólé Odùduwà, mo kí Mrs. Comfort Ológunjà àti sister wọn. Mo kí ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń bẹ, mo kí Gani Olóyèdè ní Babangida is the punishment, he can never stand up on the wheelchair. Orí wheelchair ló máa kú sígbẹ̀yìn. Regional government is a scam. Let's move out of the zoo country. Gani Olóyèdè. Either you like it or not, War Adeboye Adebanji is God sent with Olóyè Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho Òòṣà, Olódùmarè ọmọ Yorùbá. Mo kí ogun ìtawà ní mainland, mo kí ìtawà ní Àjà ní Lẹ́kí. Ọ̀rọ̀ tá à ń fà yìí kò ń ṣọ̀rọ̀ Malian, kò ń ṣọ̀rọ̀ Davido, ọ̀rọ̀ ilé ayé wa ni. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ Biafra, Akeem Olúwadámiláre, Ẹniọlá Akíndélé, mo kí yín. Mo kẹ́yìn sisters, mo kẹ́yìn bàbá mi, mo kẹ́yìn ẹ̀gbọ́n mi ní Canada, ní Malaysia, ní Hong Kong. Bàbá wa Shitu Ọmọwùmí, mo kí yín. Ṣeun Oyenaika, mo kí yín. Àyìndé Utsman, mo kí yín. Don't let anybody fool us again that I'm a save Nigeria. We don't want to save Nigeria. We want Nigeria to fold up so that we can have a better future. If you are new on this platform, wọ́n ní sọ ilé fún ẹni church yín, wọ́n dẹ̀ ní sọ ní mọ́ṣáláṣí. Àwọn tó bá máa sọ á jẹ́ pé àwọn tó ti accept pé lótìtọ́ lódodo ìran Yorùbá gbọ́dọ̀ bọ̀ nínú ìdààmú àti òṣì àti ìdààmú àti àìríná àìríjẹ tó wọlé wá tọ̀ wá. A sọ pé Tinubu ni ó fa gbogbo yẹn, àmọ́ ìdààmú òṣì yìí ó ti ń bẹ pẹ̀lú wa látayébáyé ni. Ọ̀nà kan tí a lè gbà tí a lè fi dákun ẹ̀, tá a lè fi rí justice, òun ni pé kí gbogbo wa ká fọwọ́ papọ̀ kájọ béèrè fún ẹ̀tọ́ wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí òmìnira ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Eléyìí náà ni à ń pariwo ta fi ń kéde ní gbogbo ìgbà pé ọ̀nà àbáyọ kan tó kù òun ni ká lọ. Bàbá wa ti gbóhùn sókè, Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá, ó ní ìjọba Tinubu ti sọ gbogbo èèyàn di beggars o, promoting intense poverty according to the senior lawyer Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá ló sọ̀rọ̀. Ó ní President Tinubu's government turning Nigerians into beggars. Àkí bàbá wa Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá o, pé táwọn bàbá tó kù náà bá ń gbóhùn sókè báyìí, ṣe nínú wa máa dùn, à mọ̀ pé ẹ wà pẹ̀lú wa. But àìmá sọ̀rọ̀ yín ó ń ni wá lára, torí pé tẹ́yìn bá ti sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀yin ní ohùn tó pọ̀. Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá ó ní Tinubu ti kó wa sínú ẹrẹ̀, ìyẹn tó ń pè ní Jagaban, ọmọ olódò ọdẹ. Mo máa ń kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá lókè òkun pé a kú palẹ̀mọ́ Olóyè Ìgbòho ọmọ Adéyẹmọ. Mo kí brother mi Mr. Wisdom yóò ní tán o. Mo lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ mo kí bàbá wa Ìbùkún John. Wọ́n ní if Nigerian leaders and government fail to go about resolving this country peacefully, they fail to embrace dialogue to form a parliamentary system of government whereby individual regions manage their resources and develop at our own pace. Or come up with the people or citizens-oriented constitution which will engage natural unity and love. What Nigeria experienced as civil war between 1967 and 1970 of Biafra civil war will not be child play. Please take note. We hope that Tinubu will release Nnamdi Kanu because Nnamdi Kanu hasn't committed any offense. Rendition all the way from Nigeria, from Kenya, back to Nigeria under the criminal Buhari. Obajere, Jerry Sokwe, you are right with your point of view, but whether cheap or expensive, that is the only way out. The country that was built on lies and deceit needs to come to the end abruptly. Note, we have had peaceful revolution in some countries of the world, yes or no? Thank you so much for all the comments and all your engagement with me this morning. Like I always say, we're all in this together. Whether you are Biafrans, don't come and tell us to do things that we will not do at the appropriate time. We are running different programs, but we want different things to be done. So yours will be different from ours, but we expect us to pull out together so that we can have, a better future country. Muki Ejaya. Mr. Kweyemi Alade Mokinyo. Moki Mr. Kasim, happy Sunday. Joshua F. Moses Mokinyi, happy Sunday. Láti Sango Ọ̀tà. Moki Babalekiti lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Mo kí gbogbo ẹni tí ó yẹ ká kí ẹ jẹ́ ká máa rántí pé iṣẹ́ wà fúnlẹ̀ wa kí a lè bá kúrò ní Nàìjíríà ni o. Nobody has the monopoly to violence. Nobody can win a guerrilla warfare. They can win a conventional one. But like I always say to you, we don't have to go through that. We can go without a war. But if the government thinks that they can fight the Biafra, fight the Arewa, fight the Ijaw, fight the Yoruba all together, they don't have the capacity to do so. But it will just bring more collateral damage. Mo kí olórí ẹbí wa Ọ̀làtà. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ ń dáwó pé ká fi sọ́pọ́tì rally tó ń bọ̀ yìí. Mo kí àwọn tó ń béèrè pé Koiki ǹjẹ́ àwa náà máa ṣe rally ní Nàìjíríà. We can do rally, but I don't take that decision. Since we have our leaders, decision will be taken from our leaders. I will not come and say Kalojade fún rally. The decision of Igboho coming to London was a collective one, not a single person. Mo kí gbogbo àwọn elétò tí wọ́n tò ètò yẹn tó fi débi tó délé ni. We kí Yoruba World Media. Mo kí the YSDM, which stand as the vehicle for the Yoruba self-determination. We hope that they will become more active and engaging because many people want them to be engaged. Àwọn èèyàn fẹ́ ká máa gbóhùn wọn lóòrèkóòrè to engage the people. I know that they are working, but there can be more that can be done on this particular Yoruba World Media and Yoruba self-determination. Mo kí engineer Adeniyi, mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà nílùú Èkìtì, mo kí ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń bẹ ní Oǹdó, ní Kwara, ní Kogi, mo wá kí gbogbo àwọn ọba aládé pé gbogbo bí tẹ́ fi summit yẹn sí ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ bá wa ṣe ìwádìí kí ló jẹ́ kí summit yẹn tó hang torí pé the summit is of the benefit for the Yoruba people. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti ra ticket láti wá fún dinner, your ticket is still valid. The date has only been changed from a Thursday to the Friday. £1,100 is not a lot of money to come and enjoy a night out with Igboho for his birthday for somebody that was kept inactive for 2 years. All his bank account is still being held by the current administration of Tinubu. He's not accessible to his properties across Yoruba land today. He has been in exile more or less in the last 3 years. But yet, Ono won't give up. Yet, Ono won't jeko soon. So, buying £100 ticket, which there's still limited room for more of you that wants to join. It's only 150 people. It's going to be a beautiful night with a dinner, music, with engagement from Igboho on every table for those of you that will be at that event. Then Enito Bawale attend dinner, maybe for one reason or the other. A Saturday should be an open space for you. Kò jẹ́ kẹ́ sọ pé ẹ lè wà available. Kò ń ṣe Sunday tẹ́ ń lọ sí church. Kò dẹ̀ ń ṣe Sunday tẹ́ ń lọ sásàlátù. Yoruba people will give excuses too much. A man give too much excuses. There is now enough time to plan for that Saturday, the 12th, when the rally will be coming up. Kò sí any reason tẹ́ mọ Yorùbá tó ń gbé ní UK, ní Europe, tó gbọ́dọ̀ lè attend. Tẹ́ bá ń gbé ní outside London, kò ń ṣe Nàìjíríà lè ń lọ. You can be in London and return back to your house. Even if you're coming from Scotland, tẹ́ bá gbéra overnight, ẹ dé láàárọ̀, ẹ dẹ̀ bá night coach padà. Because tẹ́ bá ní kẹ́ gbéra láti Scotland is the farthest away from London, which is about some few miles away. But if you travel overnight on a night coach, you will arrive into the ground on a Saturday morning. And you can still return back with a night coach and arrive back on a Sunday. Ẹ ṣì ní Sunday láti fi rest. Ẹ ṣì ní Sunday láti fi lọ sí church. Ẹ ṣì ní Sunday láti fi ṣe other activities. Mo mọ̀ pé àwọn kan ti book bí àwọn lọ sí birthday party àti event. All this event doesn't start till late. We know how your party runs in UK. Tó bá pe party ní 9 o'clock ní UK, Yoruba people will be there at 11 o'clock. Kò sí party tó bá pè ní 7, ẹ ní débẹ̀ ní 7. So àárọ̀ la fẹ́ ṣe event yìí. Ẹ lè wá, kẹ́ participate, and then move from there to your next outing. Bóyá bá lọ ṣe night gan, tẹ́ bá máa fi sùn, tẹ́ bá máa fi dìde. The nearest tube station is Oxford Circus on the Victoria line, a very beautiful line. And like I said, there's also multiple buses tó ń bọ̀ láti southeast tó máa gbé yín dé Oxford Circus. It's just about a few meters to the BBC Broadcasting House. So am I a card excuse? We want a country, we will all work towards it, and that's exactly what we are doing. And as I leave us this morning on the Sunday broadcast, the next week will be another topic, another discussion. Should I share what we're going to be discussing? But for now, Yoruba Nation is the only solution. The final solution, the next solution, the immediate solution. The immediate solution to our problems, Onipeka get the hell out of Nigeria. Nigeria failed woefully, and it will continue to fail. It's a failed state. The monarch tí wọ́n kidnap ní Sokoto, ó ti bẹ̀bẹ̀ because Joko gbà wọ́n sílẹ̀. The 20 innocent people that have been kidnapped on their way to Enugu, the security are not interested. They are probably looking for people like us when they should be rescuing innocent Nigerians that have been adopted by the Fulani terrorists. Terrorists are not going to leave your land. Your land is juicy. Your land is good for them. And they want to make sure that that land is being taken away from us. And we must not give room to them. We must defend our land. We must protect it from all the arrangement of the terrorists to hijack it from us. Part of what we are doing today is to create that preparedness of such. But if you're still one of those that disagree with Yoruba Nation for one reason or the other, maybe because they like Igboho, maybe because of this, I think I should show us this before we go. I have one more video I can show us, because 3 hours on the dot, this program will come to an end. Let's watch this video that I did at one of my outing going into the rural area, because I love the rural area in London, because I know the Fulani terrorists are not going to kidnap me.
This is the way to ṣe jẹ́ ká gbé ní gbígbé àlàáfíà. But apparently, we have been told lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. Ẹ̀rọ àwọn màálù yẹn bọ́ ṣe tóbi dáadáa nígbà tó ń rìn kan jẹ tí wọ́n rìn káàkiri, pé wọ́n rìn káàkiri tí wọ́n máa rìn ṣẹ́rí, pé wọ́n rìn káàkiri. And this is what we are saying fáwọn èèyàn wa. But ṣé ni àwọn èèyàn wa rò pé àwa àti government à ń bínú síra wa? No, à bínú síra wa. We are just saying that we want to go. We don't want to be part of Nigeria. We don't want to be part of a country that doesn't have respect for human lives. So ṣe rí pé gbogbo àwọn màálù yẹn wọ́n ní nǹkan tó fi ṣe tí wọn, wọ́n ti nọ́mbà wọn, etí méjì wọ́n wà registered, milk wà lábẹ́ wọn, tẹ́ bá wo ọ̀nkan dáadáa, gbogbo àwọn tẹ́yìn ń jẹ kò sí mílíkì inú ẹ̀. Koikimedia, bringing the world closer to your doorstep. Bó ṣe jẹ́ káwọn màálù náà wà lélẹ̀. This is the way to ṣe jẹ́ ká gbé ní gbígbé àlàáfíà. But apparently, we have been told lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. Ẹ̀rọ àwọn màálù yẹn bó ṣe tóbi dáadáa nígbà tó ń rìn kan jẹ tí wọ́n rìn káàkiri, pé wọ́n rìn káàkiri tí wọ́n máa rìn ṣẹ́rí,
pé wọ́n rìn káàkiri, and this is what we are saying fáwọn èèyàn wa. But ṣé ni àwọn èèyàn wa rò pé àwa àti government à ń bínú síra wa? No, à bínú síra wa. We are just saying that we want to go. We don't want to be part of Nigeria. We don't want to be part of a country that doesn't have respect for human lives. So ṣe rí pé gbogbo àwọn màálù yẹn wọ́n ní nǹkan tó fi sétí wọn, wọ́n ti nọ́mbà wọn, etí méjèèjì wọ́n wà registered, milk wà lábẹ́ wọn, tẹ́ bá wo ọ̀nkan dáadáa, gbogbo àwọn tẹ́yìn ń jẹ kò sí mílìkì inú ẹ̀. Koikimedia bringing the world closer to your doorstep. Well, what more can I say? That should be the way in the future for ranching. Lágbára Ọlọ́run fún àwọn tó bá ní interest. One more, the final intro video that has completed, downloaded, and we can listen to that. This is to appreciate those that are preparing for this beautiful event. To Mawaye in London, sorry, in Nigeria rather. This event comes up in Osun State, where they are taking it to. Mokibubango Eleto. Please, Mbomo Yoruba, support the state yín. Àwọn tí wọ́n kù díẹ̀ káàtó fún, àwọn tí wọ́n struggle láti lè make sure pé wọ́n rí aṣọ tiwọn, ìyẹn fún program tí a máa fi wọ̀nyí nísìn. And if you have not done so, please do so. Owó la máa fi ṣe Yorùbá Nation. Ọlọ́run á pèsè fún gbogbo wa lọ́tùn lósì tá máa fi rí ṣe lílé àti lóko. Mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí o. Okay, ó ṣe ń download ẹ fún mi ní few seconds on download ó kù díẹ̀. So mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí pé àṣeyọrí náà la máa ṣe nínú tàgbé dání, àní ṣe àṣetì. Gbogbo ẹni tó bá ní àṣetì ní tiwa máa jẹ́ Ọlọ́run adójú tì wọ́n. Torí pé àwọn kan wọ́n fẹ́ ká ṣe àṣetì lórí ẹ̀mí pé ibi tẹ́ bá ṣe dé tẹ́ ẹ̀ rí ṣe ojú á tì yín. Ìyẹn ọ̀dẹ̀ ń gbéṣẹ́ Elédùmarè dání kójú tì í. Ó sì lè rí bẹ́ẹ̀ báyìí ni. Wọn ò ní sín pẹ̀lú ìyá rẹ̀, ó ń ṣọmọ lóko bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Ojú ló dẹ̀ ń kán ìbòjì, òun máa débẹ̀. Ìdòwú Matthew Moke, Alan Condon in Nigeria is a monster and a failed company that the Britain created for their own citizens to live a normal life. And I'm not joking, he's right. If you look at some of my videos that I've posted of recent, the ones that I do, you will ask yourself, why are they living a better life? Táwa náà lè gbé better life. Ṣé wọ́n lórí méjì ni? Wọ́n lórí méjì. It is because the system that was created for us is different from the system that is created for them. Let's watch this video and then I'll come back and then we will start winding down finally. Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí o.
Pẹ̀lú àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ kan káàkiri àgbáyé láti gbogbo ilẹ̀ Áfíríkà títí dé Europe, Asia, Amẹ́ríkà, Gúúsù Amẹ́ríkà, Australia àti Canada. Àánú àti àfojúsùn wa ní ìmúgbòòrò èdè àti ìmúgbòòrò àṣà tí ò wá látòkè délẹ̀ ní gbogbogbò. A máa ń ṣe ọjọ́ àṣà ìdálẹ̀ àti àṣà Yorùbá tí a pe àkọlé rẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ àdìrẹ àdìrẹ́dẹ́. Àdìrẹ yìí ó jẹ́ ọjọ́ kan láti ṣe àfihàn ní kíkún àṣà wa bó ti lẹ́wà àti bó ṣe lọ́rọ̀ nígbà gbogbo nínú oúnjẹ, ijó, ìmúra, orin kíkọ àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ àfihàn yìí máa ń wáyé lọ́dọọdún tí àtẹ̀jáde wúndíá náà wáyé ní ìlú Ìbàdàn ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ní oṣù kẹwàá ọdún 2020. Ó sì jẹ́ àṣeyọrí ńlá. Àwọn tó wà bẹ́ẹ̀ ní ọdún tó kọjá, àwọn ni wọ́n lè sọ. Ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ni yóò gbàlejò ọjọ́ àdìrẹ tiwantiwa 2024. Èyí yóò wáyé ní ọjọ́ Sátidé ọjọ́ kẹsàn-án oṣù kọkànlá ọdún tí a wà nínú èyí ní gbọ̀ngàn Afẹ́wọ̀rọ̀ Gardens, Onis Palace, Ẹnu Ọwá, Ilé Ifẹ̀, Ọ̀ṣun State. Sílẹ̀ ìlú wà pàtàkì wá ń sọ gbogbo ẹ̀yin onílé iṣẹ́ ńláńlá kẹ́ ẹ máa bọ̀ kẹ́ ẹ wá darapọ̀ mọ́ wa káfi tiwa káfi gbé tiyín lárugẹ kẹ́ ẹ̀yin náà kẹ́fi tiyín kẹ́fi gbé tiwa lárugẹ. Fún wa láti gbé àṣà àwọn Yorùbá tiwantiwa lárugẹ nípa ti ìpàtẹ àti ìpolówó ọjà ní ẹ jọ̀wọ́ ẹ pè àwọn ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wa wọ̀nyí. fún sísanwó ìpàtẹ àti ìpolówó ọjà yín a lè sanwó sí ilé ìfowópamọ́ wa. Àṣà ọmọ Yorùbá tiwantiwa Wema Bank.
Àdìrẹ tiwantiwa èyí tó ń bọ̀ lọ́nà tí a ti ṣe irú ẹ̀rí ní ìlú Ìbàdàn la tún fẹ́ ṣe ní ìlú Ọ̀ṣun state kí Ọlọ́run kó wà pẹ̀lú wa o. Orúkọ mi ni ìyáàfin Modúpẹ́ Ọlá Ẹ̀yìnbọ̀ tí mo jẹ́ welfare officer.
Fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé ẹ tún lè kàn sí wa lórí àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ wa lórí afẹ́fẹ́ ayélujára àṣà ọmọ Yorùbá tiwantiwa gmail.com.
Mo fi àsìkò yìí kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá jákèjádò àgbáyé níbikíbi tí a bá wà pé a kú àkókò yìí o. Àmọ́ fi àsìkò yìí dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run àti gbogbo àwa tá a kópa nínú àdìrẹ tiwantiwa dé.
A fi ètò àdìrẹ tiwantiwa dé ìlélẹ̀ ní èyí tí a bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí í ṣe ní àti ọdún tó kọjá nílùú Ìbàdàn.
Ní Àdámọ̀sígbà. Àsìkò yìí pé gbogbo wa pé ká múra kájọ sowọ́pọ̀.
Ní ọdún 2024 ìyàwó ń gbé lọ sí ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun.
Lágbára Ọlọ́run ìṣe àṣà ilẹ̀ Yorùbá kò ní bàjẹ́ o.
Àdìrẹ tiwantiwa 2024 wá lóyún. Abáwaṣe. Akíkanjú obìnrin adúláwọ̀ ìfẹ́ adúláwọ̀ ló jẹ ìlú Modúpẹ́ Ọlá Àṣírí. Orúkọ mi ò yí padà o. Èmi ni Ìfẹ́ Olúwa Ìdòwú tí mo jẹ́ organizing secretary.
Orúkọ mi ni Yẹmí Akíndélé.
Orísun wa ò gbọdọ̀ gbẹ odò tó bá gbẹ orísun rẹ̀ ni yóò gbẹ o.
Well, ṣe rí i pé we need a country. Kí mídíà tèmi máa ṣiṣẹ́ kí èmi náà máa pa owó láti promote Yorùbá culture, àṣà, oúnjẹ, kí wà strategic tí competition dẹ̀ máa wà tí kò ní jẹ́ pé mi nìkan bẹ̀ èmi mọ̀ tèmi máa ṣe lọ́jọ́ iwájú nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tèmi náà lè fi make owó dáadáa. Mo kíyàwó Olúwafúnkẹ́ Ọbaláyọ̀ Adésínà Iron Ladies. Mo ní tí ó bá jẹ́ pé mo lówó tó tówó, that is one of the leader of the Iron Lady. This beautiful sister, very strong, dedicated. They need money, but we just hope that more people will support this platform. This platform is ready if you are ready to fund it. Tẹ́ ready to fund platform, there is so much things that can be pushed and prepare our people out quickly. So mo kí our Bali lẹ́ǹkan sí Madam Bali, mo kí gbogbo different groups, mo kí bàbá Àwòrò-Ṣàṣà, mo kí ẹgbẹ́ ìfẹ́ lódùn, mo kí Akíkanjú. Ẹ má bára yín jà, ẹ má kí èdè àwọn Fúlàní mú gbogbo wa, ẹ má kí èdè wọn kó mú wa. Ibi tá à ń lọ tó gbogbo wa jẹ, ó tó wa jẹ, ó tó wa lò, but ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tí understand culture tẹ́ kọ̀ọ̀rọ̀ rí is a $1 billion worth culture lọ́jọ́ iwájú, but a ní láti wá nú government Yorùbá tó lè prepare policies pẹ̀lú àwọn ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n tó lè prepare wa brick by brick. Kò ń ṣe ràtìràtì tó ń ṣe ní Nàìjíríà nísìn tí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá máa ní full identification bẹ́ẹ̀mi náà ṣe ní tán pè ní national insurance number nílùú yìí. Tá a máa lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ báwọn ọmọ tèmi, àwọn ọmọ tèmi àtàwọn ọmọ tó ń gbé ní UK tó níwèé wọ́n ń gba equivalent of 50,000 naira every week. Bọ́ọ̀sì ọ̀fẹ́ láwọn ọmọ mi ń lò tó bá jáde, wọ́n sanwó bọ́ọ̀sì, wọ́n kì í sanwó public transport, ọ̀fẹ́ ni. Kò ń ṣe àwọn ọmọ tèmi nìkan, àwọn ọmọ oríṣiríṣi. Mo kí àwa beauty àmọ̀ pé kò ní bàjẹ́ fún ẹ mọ́mì mi dáadáa, ìyá lálùbáríkà. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin sisters mi tẹ́ ń gbé ní gbogbo àwọn ìlú tí kò jẹ́ kẹ́ wà, tẹ́ ti fọkọ sílé, ẹlòmíì ò tẹ́ mọ bọ́kọ ẹ ṣe rí mọ́ nígbà tó súnmọ́, kò sí feelings. Kò ní dá fẹ́yìn politicians yìí. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n máa lọ kí n tó tún wọnú nǹkan mi. Ẹ ní kúure, a máa wọlé wá bá yín díẹ̀ ó kù díẹ̀. Mo ní kù, ẹ máa nẹ́nu ni mò ń dán, mo ní kù díẹ̀. Òun la Mọ́sùn ti tà wá yẹn. Ṣé mọ̀ pa Mọ́sùn òun kúrò lórí oyè, ó tà wá, òun dẹ̀ sì ń gbádùn. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n máa lọ. Ẹ máa ní ẹnu ni mò ń dán lórí social media. Mo ní Ọláyọmí Kóìkì. Èmi ni last man stand gbogbo yín pátápátá. láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà bọ̀ kọ́kọ́rọ́ yẹn ọwọ́ Ìgbòho ló wà ibi tó bá dẹ̀ tò sí ni mo tò sí tó bá ti fohùn síta ní any goddamn time one way ticket ni màá fi kúrò nílùú yìí ó kù díẹ̀ nìbọn ró ẹ jẹ́ ká pàdé ní London náà kájọ ṣayẹyẹ yẹn ẹ jẹ́ ká pàdé ní November ẹ má rò pé àwọn ọjọ́ yẹn pẹ́ October ti wà round the corner November ti wà round the corner ẹ support gbogbo wọn ẹ jẹ́ ká support àwọn èèyàn wa wọ́n ti fi ibi pa wá lóòótọ́ pé ibi apá yìí náà lọ́jọ́ iwájú ẹ̀yin olóṣèlú yìí mo kí gbogbo lélẹ̀ nǹkan sí o have a very good morning tábà jáde mọ́lẹ̀ ní àtúmọ̀ pàdé nígbà tó lọ́ọ́ bá ní ká pàdé mo kí ẹlẹ́ǹkan sí o brọ́dà mi kó tọ́jú mi àrólé Odùduwà gbogbo ẹ̀ tẹ́ ń tọ́jú Koiki ẹ̀ ń tó bá tí wàá tọ́jú wa ẹ tọ́jú àwa náà kí mi náà lè tọ́jú ìyàwó kí n lè tọ́jú ọmọ èmi ò lọ́bi iṣẹ́ kankan ilé ni mo gbé dání a máa ta tán síbẹ̀ ni àjọ máa ta tán sínú ìjàgbara yìí àjọ máa ta tán ni ó kù díẹ̀ nìbọn ró mo kí brọ́dà mi Yẹmí Fátókì gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wá jẹ́ ọmọ OPC Àmọ̀tẹ́kùn mo gbọ́ àwọn brọ́dà wa reform gbogbo iná ni mò ń kí o mo yọ ẹnì kankan sílẹ̀ kólúkálukú wa ká lọ múra sílẹ̀ torí a máa gbára wa kúrò lọ́wọ́ àwọn amúnisìn Britain ò lè ṣe nothing mo sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ America ò tó bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n lè ṣe kankan àwa gbogbo wa pátá ìjọ tí bá ti drive orí M1 ní London máa ṣe fídíò kékeré látòrí ẹ̀ tí bá ti mọ̀ pé máa gba orí M1 kọjá máa ṣe fídíò mo gbàbẹ̀ kọjá níjọ́ òní bọ́kàn mi ò tètè rántí pé kí n ṣe live video kẹrí tá a bá ti bọ́ sórí M1 ẹ jẹ́ ká fi ìtókù sílẹ̀ mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí o a very good morning happy Sunday at least you can go and now watch your own other broadcast mo kí ẹ easy lẹ́ǹkan sí odò agbèwà kò ní gbé àwọn ọ̀dàlẹ̀ láàrin wa mo kí wa lẹ́ǹkan sí o Yoruba nation has finally come but it is just the last lap local and push good morning we play the anthem and we close the broadcast ẹni tí bá dárúkọ for one reason or the other ẹ má fi ṣèbínú mo ti kó gbogbo àpapọ̀ pé àṣẹ àṣeyọrí o nínú ìrìn àjò tá a gbé dání ọlọ́run àbáwá lọ́rẹ̀ mi bàbá kító ìdàdà àti ìyàwó wọn àti gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n yíká wọn ọlọ́run àbáwá dúró ti àwọn ìyàwó bàbá wọn Olóyè Ìgbòho ọlọ́run ní fi yín sílẹ̀ o ọlọ́run àbáwá dúró ti àwọn ọmọ yín gbogbo àwọn mọ̀lẹ́bí pátá ọlọ́run àbáwá dúró tì yín èmi náà ń pè ní Ọláyọmí Kóìkì not just a spokesperson for Ìgbòho but also the last man standing bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo sọ mo kí gbogbo lé o bye for now and enjoy the rest of the weekend as we prepare for another week ahead. Yoruba nation has come to stay. All hail Biafra, all hail Arewa, Ambazonia, Scottish, Wales, and all hail Gbogbomo Yoruba Nile Loko. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Thank you all those on the Twitter space this morning. Good morning. Okay, Yawa Beauty Amakwe, and the rest of you all. Bye for now.